What's going on? Good morning. Just a hair before 6 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. First Titans injury report of the week came out yesterday. 5 players not practicing for the Titans. Wide receiver Traylon Burks, linebacker Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tierre Tart, all labeled with the DNP. Azeez Al-Shaair, Aaron Brewer were limited with neck injuries, while Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins were designated as rest. For the Ravens, Jadeveon Clowney, Adafe Awe, and Geno Stone missed practice. Clowney was said to miss with an illness and should be able to go in London. Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick McCary, and Morgan Moses were all limited. You got Thursday Night Football tonight, Chiefs and Broncos, 7:15 on Amazon Prime or right here on 104.5 The Zone. Chiefs have already ruled out Frank Clark with an illness. Travis Kelce's questionable but did practice all week. Broncos also getting a little help back in running back Javonte Williams, who is practicing with no injury designation. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thursday morning, we welcome you in to a hot, fresh, new 4 hours of RKW. We're brewed up by 8th and Roast. Go by and see him this morning on Charlotte, 8th Avenue in the airport. That's where we'll see him on our way across the pond. As the Titans get ready for the Ravens, we get ready for our final show in the continent. Starting right now with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Boulding. We've got an injury report, and it looks like we're not going to have Traylon Burks again in London. Coach Tate McGinnis joins us in 20 minutes. A Thursday 3 that is coming up later in the show. A college football weekend preview, and much more still to come this morning. What's happening, everybody? Good morning.
Nothing much.
Happy travel day.
Yeah, getting prepared. Got most everything packed and ready to roll.
That makes one of us.
Well,
You're shocked.
that's 2 of us. I got mine.
Okay, that makes 2 of us.
Yeah, I'm not headed to the crib. We got to be at the airport today at 2:30. So
Good.
I went ahead and packed up everything. Had to expand my travel-on bag. Hopefully it goes in the overhead space because I'm like, what is it, Sunday supposed to be like 50s?
Yeah.
Supposed to be like 50s the whole time.
Yeah,
And
maybe a
it's
little bit lower. And I was just like, okay,
open
well, I
air.
need a sweatshirt. And I packed the light vest, like one of those thin ones or whatever with the sleeves off. So I packed one of those as an overcoat just in case it does
Smart.
get a little chilly out
If you need
there.
to investigate anything when you're out there.
Well, maybe the sideline definitely is what I'll be investigating.
Exactly.
Ramon, the investigative reporter.
Investigative reporter. It's been interesting on the sideline. It all
yeah,
depends on flow of
sure.
the game too.
Sure. Do you walk around a lot, or do you find yourself kind of having a comfortable spot where you can hear everything?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like sideline reporters are very specific in how they go about their duties.
I am. One, I try not to be overimposing to
Yeah.
the team. So,
Yeah.
I know for a fact because of my coaches, they hate when reporters are behind them when they're coaching.
Got it.
I try to stand over for, in the distance a little bit. If I hadn't seen a coach on this staff blow up on a player and throw a whiteboard, a kick a whiteboard.
A
So,
Tom Brady move.
All stuff that I'm seeing is stuff that I expect. Watching that blue tent is crucial. I'll be on one end of the field and I'll be like, oh, crap. I was like, who's in the blue tent? And I may walk by just to see if I can see who's in there and stuff like that. A lot of the time, and this is probably just because the luxury is there, guys are in it just to use the restroom.
Exactly.
I was just like, what's going on? And I didn't realize that that's they've actually just made that an open restroom for guys. I never had to use the restroom during a game like that, but apparently a lot of guys do. I remember my teammates without the tent would go underneath into the tunnel.
Oh,
And there
really?
was a restroom right there.
Right
Most
there.
stadiums have a restroom by the by the sidelines and stuff like that. So it's been very fascinating just watching the flow of how this team operates on the sideline. Pretty cool.
We watch that blue tent like it's going out of style up there in the press
I
box.
know,
I'm telling you that I got a side eye view, like my peripheral's good. So I'm looking at something, I see that tent go up. I said, "Who's in the tent?"
Yeah,
And we're all like investigating up there. It's so funny.
It is. But yeah, I will walk back and forth. I try to play stand behind the offensive line.
Okay.
Or behind the defense. So I'll usually swap ends and stuff like that depending on what I want, who's on the field at the time. Yep.
I was going to say, I'm very familiar with your routine because I play Where's Moan on the sideline as much as I watch the game itself while I'm in the stadium when you're there too.
I appreciate it.
Where's
My
Moan?
parents, like my girlfriend, I'm like, all right, so where is he? Like, wait, well, find the biggest person down there
Yep.
who's not playing. And there you go. He's not wearing a red and white striped sweater.
Exactly.
He's just the tallest human being on the field who is not currently about to go in. But if things get bad enough, maybe he'll decide to go in. Like what are the conditions on a 1-day contract after the game has already started?
That's
I'll hang up and
Do
listen.
they
I'm
exist?
telling you, I've jump started again my diet because I'm like, I have to lose more weight because I'm being recognized as a player far too often. Like, I've gotten to a good spot, but here's the thing. I'm still like NFL player recognizable, and I'll be like, no, I'm not with the team. And people like, I signed a jersey last week.
Wait, what?
A Titans jersey, and I was just like,
That is great.
I signed one baseball as the broadcaster for the Tennessee Smokies. It does happen very rarely.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Very, very
and
rarely.
I'm not complaining. And of course, I've been brought into this Titans fan base because of this job and because
Yeah.
I cover the team and everything. It's just I signed a jersey last week, y'all.
That's great.
And
Titans
I told
jersey.
him a Titans jersey. I was like, I don't play, and it was like, no, it's fine. You were Titans radio. I was like,
You're like, okay.
Respect.
all right,
That's
hell,
great.
That's the street cred of one Mike Keith on
jersey.
display right there, and Coach Dave
Exactly.
McKinnon.
Right?
it is.
Do you remember whose jersey it was?
It
That's pretty
was
great.
it was a Oilers
Okay.
Oh, wow.
big
I
Derek
was
jersey.
gonna say you could have raised the value of an Andre Dillard jersey.
It wasn't him. It's hard finding offensive line
$5 to
jersey.
$10 if you sold that
Man.
thing on the market.
It was an Oilers Derek jersey.
That's always
Okay.
the toughest thing for me, going into a thrift store and then you see like Justin Hunter. It's only $5.
And you respect VFL Justin
I'm
Hunter.
respecting. I want to buy all
He was
of
my
them.
favorite wide receiver in college, like
wow.
ever. I loved Justin Hunter at UT. He was so good.
Man,
Anyway, sorry to sidetrack.
he couldn't get it together.
I know
Speaking of, they were practicing with Oilers helmets yesterday.
they were
And
Are
they
they?
looked so good.
looked a little off with the Titans jersey.
Yeah, but I'm not even looking at the jersey.
Yeah, I
I'm just
don't know.
looking at those
Good.
helmets because they're
This is
so
random.
cool.
Like, because they're not wearing them this weekend, obviously, and then they have another week of practice before they play the Falcons in them, which is the week after next. I don't know. I was like, oh,
Well,
okay. I mean,
they're-
they looked good. It's just weird with a
yeah,
Titans jersey.
I think there's a little bit of they're needing to fuel inside that locker room a little bit is what I'll say. There was also some stuff before they went to drills that kind of trying to get the team kind of hyped up.
Out of the funk a little bit.
Yeah, because there's definitely a different sense in that locker room than I've felt before. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's just a little bit like unknown.
They're getting
right
more
now.
sleep this week, too.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Probably.
Yeah, I would hope so for sure.
Because they had Monday off, actually.
Did they?
So,
All
yeah.
together?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's not super uncommon either. So,
For a travel game?
Because Tuesday's your regular day off, right?
Yeah,
NFL?
usually. Yeah. So that's what they did. They moved practice off day up, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then basically, yeah.
Which kind of might offer you a little solace in the fact that Jeffrey Simmons didn't practice, because it kind of makes sense to give, if you're going to give him a day off, make it this day and let him go over there.
yeah, typically when a player like that is so available in the locker room as well, you feel good about their chances of still playing, right?
Yeah, he was readily available. Like, it was a scrum, and then I waited to talk to him a little bit later, and we had asked, how you feeling? And he said he's good. He said he didn't look like he was worried about not playing, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons is like your dad complaining about an injury. Like, you'll never hear your dad be like, oh, I dropped a hammer on my toe. No big deal. Just my nail's about to fall off. Like, you'll
Right?
never hear your dad complain about it. Jeffrey Simmons is never going to complain about it.
It's like my grandpa, I feel like. He's like never, like bullet in his leg still from the war. Like, don't complain about anything, you know?
Just a flesh wound.
Move on, yeah.
Put some vodka on it. Would be
Yes,
all right.
seriously.
615-737-1045 is the number. Full practice report yesterday. Non-participants at practice included Tierre Tart again, Jeffrey Simmons, Elijah Molden with a hamstring, Luke Gifford with a hamstring, and of course Traylon Burks nursing that knee injury. Until he practices at all, he's not going to be available.
Yeah.
Yep.
I at this point would expect him to be back for the Falcons game.
Yeah.
Which would be 3 games. Obviously 4. If you miss 4, that's the IR, designation that you could have made. But you also save one of your 8 returns from IR by not putting him on and bringing it back. So if it's 3 games, you just kind of have to, you have a 52-man roster for 3 weeks. 4 weeks, 3 games, essentially, is where they are with that. Ravens injury report, Jadeveon Clowney, Geno Stone, Odafe Owe. Robert, I was right.
Yep, Odafe Owe.
Thank you so much. Odell Beckham, limited. Marlon Humphrey, limited. Patrick McCarry, limited. Morgan Moses, limited. And Keaton Mitchell, full participants. So Clowney, Owe, and Stone, the 3 non-participants. I, for one, am shocked that Jadeveon Clowney didn't practice.
Oh, he wasn't a participant like the whole time he was in
Shocked.
Tennessee?
Yeah, he was not. If you were listing players as non-participants for games after the fact, then you would have had a lot of games where Jadeveon Clowney played but also didn't participate.
Also did not.
That was
That's right.
such a blip on the map. Like, I can't even remember really him being here.
Well, I remember it very well because all of COVID, there was nothing to
That's
do
right.
except for check to see what the latest on Jadeveon Clowney was.
That's so true.
Like,
Yes.
wait, babe, wake up. What's Josina Anderson tweeted about Clowney today?
Oh, my God.
It was all there was to do. Like, I remember,
Clowney watch.
I still lived at home at that point, and I was working 10 hours a week that whole summer. And he didn't sign until the end of the summer. And every day I'd be like, so what happened today in sports? I'd be like, well, there's another report that Clowney is thinking about possibly thinking about setting a date of when he could sign.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
You're right.
Anything else? Nope. Cool. That was it.
That's it.
That was it right there. It was good for radio. I'll tell you that. When he signed, you had hopes that he was going to at least help. And I think how many games he played? 7, 9 games here.
Oof.
With little production, they went to Cleveland and played against.
Maybe,
the
yeah,
Titans.
I would say maybe 7, right?
Yeah.
That sounds about right, but I could even go lower than that.
Yeah, no, serious.
But I think that's around.
I don't want to change his mentality around, but it's kind of like he found some good serum. Like somebody made him decent again.
Give it time.
Right?
In the Cleveland game, he was electric, but he is Mr. Almost. He is not going to sack anybody. He's going to get very, very close and scare them and maybe like holler at them, but he ain't going to hit nobody.
Doesn't he have the most pressures right now on that team?
He's got the most on that team.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, pressure's
that's
not the
his thing.
problem. It's sacks. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's true.
They'll
Yeah.
get pressure.
Yeah, that's his thing. Quarterback hits. He's got 5. He's
Quarterback
leading the team with
hits?
5. Yeah.
Okay.
Elsewhere yesterday, the Braves got pantsed in Philly, but today they've got an ace on the mound, and I still feel decent.
Oh,
Spencer Strider on the mound. What are you talking about? I'm being positive.
I know. I was yesterday. I had hope because they went up early on him. I was
Yeah, they
like,
won
let's
that
go. We were actually watching the game. Keisha called me. It was like, hey, the Braves on TV. It was like, when did you become a fan of the Braves?
Right?
Okay.
Love that.
That happened, and it was just all because we're a baseball family, and
Yeah.
it was on playoff baseball. We talked about how hype playoffs are anyway.
Yeah.
And definitely turned that thing on.
Go Diamondbacks. Sweeping the Dodgers. Who would have thought? Dude, that's nuts.
My high school buddy Bryce Jarvis moving on to the NLCS in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Former first-round pick out of Duke.
Yeah.
I thought you could buy a World Series in baseball.
No, you can't.
The Dodgers got swept,
Well, and
man.
Mookie
Really hate that for
Betts
him.
and Freddie
Yeah.
combined for like nothing.
I
hit-wise.
know.
They
They're,
you can't do that.
Braves and Dodgers rotations both were significantly not as healthy going into the postseason as they were at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. That makes a difference too.
Braves
Yeah.
are missing like 5 pitchers, and Dodgers are missing some big names as well. No Walker Buehler for them in the postseason made a big difference. And in the F&M Bank chat, Justin says Phillies have already won the series. Incorrect. They have not. Spencer Strider's on the mound tonight, and Max Fried would pitch on Saturday. The series is far from over.
Yeah, I would not go there yet.
Far from over.
I'll tell you, there was a lot of Philly hate in that house last night.
Yeah.
screaming
Yeah.
up Philly hate.
Yeah.
And Bryce.
Basically, the media made up a little exchange between Bryce Harper and Orlando Arcia. Now it's all baseball media wants to talk
know.
about on a quote that was nothing. Anyway, I won't get into it. 615-737-1045. Coach Mack is next, previewing Titans and Ravens with us on RKW.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for QC Kinetics. Listen, the future of joint pain relief, it is finally here, and it is QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. And I'm telling you guys, it's amazing stuff. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. If you have been, told that steroids or surgery are your only options, if you want to be feeling better as you get older, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack the joint pain. And we all get it at some point. I'm talking about long-lasting relief with QC Kinetics. They don't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem using concentrated healing properties placed directly to your joint, and that will restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall, then going into winter with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. Heck, I get it in my legs this time of the year. Listen, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with all natural treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call QC Kinetics now. It is 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Thursday morning on RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. And this music and this time of the week means it is time to talk with Coach Dave McGinnis, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, Middle Tennessee's most trusted local Ford dealership for 40 years. What's up, Coach Mac?
Hey,
How are
guys. Good morning.
Coach.
Just on the wheel, getting ready to go to London. So here we go.
you? Yes, sir.
Right. You packed?
Oh yeah.
You only need to bring like carry-on,
I
right?
don't need. Yeah, that's
Black
all
button
we
down.
can. That's all we can carry.
You can only, okay.
We can't
That's
put
right.
anything under the plane, and
Okay.
it's got to all be just two things. And so I don't know how Ramon's going to get all his wardrobe over there, but
We were
we'll
talking
figure it
about
out.
that.
I figured it out, Coach Mac.
I know you did.
Tightly rolled up stuff, man, and just stuff it. You know how it goes.
Actually, Farrell was trying to, talking about stuff, and it was trying to get me to do. They've got these new things, those cubes that you pack in that you
Yeah.
can do, and they say they're really good. And she said, "Mac, you need to get some." I said, "I'd tear them up." I have no idea. So I'm doing the same thing you are. Throw it in there and go.
just go, and you know what, Coach Mac? Just hopefully we don't break a zipper. You know, that's all.
That and that's breaking it down, Ramon.
Yeah, master packer over here.
Yeah, yeah. I'll take more than one thing to wear.
Coach Mac, you excited to see the broadcast booth at Tottenham versus the one at Wembley? Like,
Well,
this
it's
is a
not-
different setup.
There's not one at Wembley.
Right.
You're broadcasting from the stands in Wembley. I mean, and I tell you, who's happy to see it is our crew of Brad Willis and Philip Noel and Rhett, because they've got to set up. And when they had to bless you.
Thank you, Coach.
When they had to set up in the stadium, I mean, it was an engineering marvel. It really was. I mean, they were buying cable that stretched clear. I mean, and we were sitting at desk. We were sitting at desk like we were in Catholic school. We weren't.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have a booth. This thing here was built for this. And when you just, if you look at it, Mike Keith did a feature on the stadium, the genesis of it, and it being built on the Mike Vrabel show. I filled in for Coach Vrabel this week because of a short week on his television show. And I mean, it's incredible what that thing is. $1.5 million or 2 million pounds, they said, which is a lot of pounds. But this thing is beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hadn't seen this one before, and apparently Will's put me up on it because there was a guy used to work here, Josiah Schaefer. I think that's his soccer
JT.
club.
Justin
Schaefer.
We used to know him by Jonathan, and now we just butcher his J name
Yeah.
every time we talk about it.
Josiah Schaefer. This is his favorite soccer club over there, and he was bragging about how new and innovative it is and stuff.
It's my least favorite soccer club over there. So.
Hot Spurs, right?
Hotspur.
Tottenham
yeah.
Hotspur.
Tottenham
They
Hotspur.
may snipe me at some point because they
Tot-
probably have gone and found some tweets I've sent that are pretty disparaging about them.
Well, just go in disguise.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't need to lose you to Hotspur fans.
I'll have Buck take my credential and I'll take Buck's. It'll be great.
So you saying you look like Buck?
No, I can just do his voice the whole time and
okay.
make pompous remarks about the press box food. But that's for
he'll
another
be
time.
wearing a purple suit, so you can't
sure.
mistake in that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think I'm wearing jeans. Coach Mack, the Titans have had some success against Lamar Jackson. Every time they've met up with him. In fact, the one game he has that has been over 300 yards passing was the 2020 divisional round win for the Titans in Baltimore. What have they been able to do to keep him from just going crazy against them and having some success against Lamar
Well,
Jackson?
this is a different offense to begin with. This
Okay.
is a different offense than he's been in. Todd Monken now is the offensive coordinator. And Lamar Jackson now it's more conventional as far as throwing the football. He's throwing the football as well as he ever has. I mean, he's throwing it down the field. He's reading things out. I mean, he never really did that before because, a lot of times they were in 13 personnel, which is 3 tights, and they were doing a lot of – now, they still got the intentional run game with the gap schemes and pulling people in front of him, so you're still going to have to +1 the run game, which is huge. And then you can't let him escape between the numbers because if he escapes between the numbers, then it takes a while. He's fast. He's very fast. He may be faster than everybody on the field when they start chasing him. And you don't have enough numbers to collapse on him if he escapes up the middle of the field. You need to push him sideways so you can use the boundary. But to be able to do that and to play +1, which you have to do on option offense, which is what the RPO is with a running quarterback, and you bring somebody out of the sky to be the next person on the quarterback, then you've got to be exactly sound on your gap defense up front. And that's what they did not do against Indianapolis. And so the gap front up has to be sound, so sound up front, because you're taking another player out for the quarterback.
But what is the biggest difference in the way Todd Monken is just calling plays as opposed to the past in Baltimore?
Well, it's involving the passing game more, the downfield passing game, and they've got skilled players. Starting with Zay Flowers and Aguilar, they've got skilled players. Mark Andrews, to me, is a tight end that's never talked about in this league, and he's one of the better ones. And then all their running backs, they have three different types of running backs, and all of these guys have some different skill sets, but they're throwing it more. He's throwing it more downfield. I broke this game down that they played against the Steelers three times just to look at all segments of the game. No way they should have lost that game. Yeah. They had smooth drops 9 times. Jeez. Smooth drops 9 times. Now, you can't count on that. And so they had people open, and he hit them, and they dropped them. So you've got to get on these people.
You do. That was so apparent in that game. In the end zone and stuff, Coach Mack.
Mm-hmm.
They're dropping it in the end zone, Coach Mack. One of the guys that had a couple drops in the game that rarely does, and that's Mark Andrews, Coach Mack. How much of a dynamic player he is to be this much of a weapon at tight end?
Well, for a while, I mean, he was his outlet. He was his guy because, they weren't pushing the ball down the field much. Now he's got another complement of receivers that they're clearing things out for him. But he's been one of the most reliable tight ends in the league because he was a guy that their quarterback, who's been an MVP in this league now, leaned on. When the run game wasn't there, either with himself or with the running backs. And so, I mean, he's an excellent tight end. He's very nuanced, and he's a physical catcher. So, I mean, they've done a nice job of putting together some people, and then plus you've played against them a lot. Since Ozzy's been there, and Eric DaCosta is going right along with what Ozzy's done. They're really big on defense up front, really big. They always have been, always will be, and that's why Patrick Queen, and Roquan Smith are just eating it up back there behind it when you watch them.
They are. They just really are, Coach Mack. But on the one other phase of this team that has to be talked about too, and it's because Harbaugh cut his teeth as a special teams coach. Justin Tucker is very unique. Duvernay is a very good returner.
Sure, yeah.
Special teams will play a huge part in this game, and specifically because of travel, premium of these defenses, and how points got to just be at an all-time high, whether we're kicking field goals or it's field position.
That field position is the thing. Field position is huge. Both of these place kickers, once you cross the 50, you've got a chance. And you got a way better than average chance to make it. So that puts pressure on your defense. And then both punters are guys that can flip the field, and that's and as you say, Duvernay is an excellent returner, but John Harbaugh is never, ever going to be lacking for special teams. That's just book that.
When it comes to the defense, let's go back to that. And specifically, what do you like about the secondary that's maybe a challenging part of this Ravens defense?
Well, the first thing I like that they like about it is the good dudes they got up front, because the dudes they've got
it trickles down.
Well, no, it works. It works from front to back, and because they make people very, very one-dimensional. Because they are, look at their numbers, especially their run defense. Look at their numbers.
Yep.
Look at their numbers in the red zone defensively. I mean, they crush people up front, so they make you one-dimensional. All right, so anytime a corner knows that they're going to be one-dimensional, then all of a sudden you can start playing a little bit different. You can be a little bit more aggressive, and the ball is going to come out quicker. So you can, if you study film, you can start to sit on routes. I mean, I've coached a lot of defenses like this that when the front is really going to work, then the secondary can start to play a step quicker, and that's what they have. I like both of their corners. Hamilton, the safety. This kid is so interchangeable, and when he was drafted, I mean, everybody I think said across the draft space that this is a Baltimore player. Big physical safety that can drop down into the box, and he can do a lot. They blitz him a lot, and we're going to see a lot of movement from that secondary as far as bogey or disguise looks before the snap, and then a lot of times you're going to be playing it, and we'll be facing an 8.5, 9-man front.
Yeah, he leads the team in sacks, which is as a safety, hey. They'll take it, I'm sure.
Well, it's because he's a linebacker.
So, yeah, right. So when you talk about the defense and what they do on that team, in terms of this Titans defense, one thing that they haven't had a lot of is turnovers this season, right? And that's something that they have kind of stressed this week in the locker room to get that. But what's the fine line of not pressuring that as much as like Christian Fulton last week, right? We were talking to Mike Vrabel, and it's not about just getting the interception. Where's the fine line there?
But you can't press for it. You got to play. And the first thing that you got to do is you can't play over and above and around your fundamentals. I mean, that's what you have to do first. You have to be fundamentally sound, play by play on defense, and then when you're doing that and everybody is consistent together, then those plays start coming. But and a lot of turnovers. I mean, we haven't batted a lot of balls down at the line of scrimmage to get tips. We haven't, got very many strip sacks. When we've had a strip sack, it's been very advantageous for us. We win the ball game, but you can't press on those types of things. But it's not just the people intercepting; it's everybody that are causing interceptions and are taking timing away from the throwing game. All of those types of things are important.
Coach Dave McGinnis with us, presented by Two Rivers Ford. Coach Mack, Roquan Smith, to me, is a guy that, coming out of Georgia, felt like one of the biggest can't-miss prospects in his class, and he has not missed. What do you see on film when you watch him, and how much of an athletic freak is that guy?
Well, he is. I mean, that's the one thing that stood out, even when he was at Georgia. I mean, and with a field full of them down there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this dude's long. He can run. He's flexible. He's very, very instinctive, and he's a violent player, which, you have to be, on defense in this league. I mean, he's got it all. That's why he was a high round, that's why he's a high pick. But at the same time, he and Patrick Queen, as we said earlier in this, talking about this defense, they're feeding off what's going on up front. And that is huge because they both have, what do they got, 53 and 46 tackles? I mean, they've got tremendous amount of tackles, and they're very good secure tacklers because they're run-through tacklers. They're not grabbers. They're run-through tacklers.
Coach Mack, Mike Vrabel was complimentary of Chris Hubbard yesterday, essentially talking about him just keeping that starting right tackle job. The offensive line doesn't give up a sack over the weekend in Indianapolis. Maybe a bright spot in that performance on the offensive side. How good was it to get Peter Skoronski back in that five to just help the cohesion of the group as a whole and not give up really a big bust until the end of the game? I guess they did give up the one sack at the very end, but kind of a last-minute situation.
Well, I mean, I thought their pass protection was and played very well, and the passing game was good.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the passing game go on. I mean, but you've got to be Peter Skoronski. What have we said when we drafted? He's going to be a 10 and 12 year player, and there's a reason. And I agree with what Coach Vrabel's saying with Hubbard. I mean, you look at Hubbard, people will ask, well, is NPF going to get his job back? Well, maybe not. I mean, but what's Hubbard done?
Yep.
Yeah.
Been solid.
He's been solid. You don't hear his name.
Well, that's right. And, I mean, this league is about production. It was unfortunate what happened with NPF, but, I mean, unfortunate things happen in this league. But, production is what you're looking for. And I don't think we could have asked any more, from a guy filling in, that all of a sudden has become pretty stable out there. It's going to be a big test for that offensive line this week, because this, as I say, this is I wouldn't say the front is quite as dynamic as what Cleveland has, because Cleveland is a dynamic front, but this is a big physical front.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's going to be a test for them. But you bring Hubbard up, and I think it's correct. I mean, you're never guaranteed your job in the National Football League, especially if somebody else is performing in your place.
Speaking of performances, Coach Mack, man, Tajay Spears, how much of a spark has he been to this offense with the ball in his hand? That cut he had last week to get in the end zone was some good stuff, Coach Mack.
Okay, who's sitting at this studio was surprised by Spears?
Nobody, because you guys had been talking about him. Rhett brought him up at the beginning of the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
You guys were at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us sitting here are surprised, and I think we said that a lot leading up into the draft.
Yep.
And then Rhett started crying when we said we were going to draft him because he is
That's his guy.
That was his guy from the start. I mean, it was absolutely his guy from the start, and I'll say that, as many guys as we vet. Rhett Bryan came to me and said, Coach Mack, we've got to watch this guy because he's special. And he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a football player, but he's got really great vision. He's got and a great vision runner. He has one-step quickness, and he's got enough juju to him that he can make that move on the move. Some guys have to kind of stop to make a move. He makes the move on the move, and he's got great vision. And as I said, he's Rhett's adopted son.
Yeah.
Rhett's got a T-shirt with his picture on it.
He got a picture with Tajay in the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, of course he did. And you know what? And I'll just say, Rhett Bryan was 100% correct.
It was.
It was.
I love the digging on Rhett, Coach Mack, because I know he causes you some pleasant headaches on certain days, man. And to have the opportunity to speak about Rhett Bryan, Coach
I
Mack.
could not do what
love
I've
it.
done in the past 7 years in Titans Radio without Rhett Bryan.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm just
indeed.
telling you that. I could not do what I've done. He's helped me so much in this, but there are times when I had to say, Rhett,
Not now, Rhett.
I love it.
Rhett has the best advice and sense of humor of anyone I've ever worked with in radio. And I know I haven't been here very long, but still.
I've leaned on Rhett for 7 years, learning what we do here, and he's the absolute best.
I love it. Coach Mack with us. Coach Mack, we will see you across the pond.
I'll be there. We'll all
Excited,
be
Coach.
there.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Get some sleep on the plane.
We're
Absolutely.
going to definitely do that.
See you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Mack with us every Thursday morning here in hour number 1. 615-737-1045 is our number. And coming up next, we continue with the NFL headlines and Robert Saleh's strange way to stop the brotherly shove. Interesting quote we'll dive into coming up next.
So this is a small bird, too, for
That's
someone
right.
that's never seen a
Yeah.
bobwhite before. It's this little round softball.
That's right. Yeah, I wouldn't. They're not much bigger than my fist. They've got little legs, but they're a ground nesting, ground dwelling bird. If they never have to fly in their life, they wouldn't. Right? They just do that to get away from hawks and owls for the most part, or hunters. What they need is largely herbaceous plant communities. Right? So they need wildflowers. They need a small proportion of grasses. I don't need vast grasslands, right? I need stuff that most people would call weeds. Those are providing good brood cover, good nesting cover, a lot of insects, right? That's what chicks need to develop early.
Bridgestone Firestone is a quail focus
It
or
is.
focal area. So tell us a little bit why.
Yeah, it's largely because there are very few places that have wild quail in the state of Tennessee anymore. And there's dozens of different factors that lead into that, right? Everybody wants to jump right to predators, but it's a habitat issue, right? It's a landscape change, whether we're talking about development or whether we're talking about fire not being on the landscape anymore, or fields and young forests progressing into closed canopy forest, right? So the farm, just by nature of it being an open landscape that's been maintained that way, has held on to some birds. And compared to most other places in the state, we're one of the very few. On top of that, the potential for growing that population, it's higher here than just about anywhere else.
Thursday morning at RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Cultivating community by the cup. You can find your favorite retail bag at every local Kroger and Whole Foods as well. Or stop by and get it hot and fresh with a breakfast burrito or a croissant. It's the wrong country of what we're going to today.
Well, I was told they have really good French cuisine over there yesterday.
I believe it.
And Indian food.
Yeah, Indian food.
They've
I
got
was like,
everything.
Okay, so we will get a croissant.
We did a TikTok with Sammy Kincaid here at the station yesterday. You guys both went with fish and chips of what you're most excited to eat.
No, I actually mentioned meat pie first.
Okay.
And then I
I was
said,
gonna say.
I've had fish and chips, but I want to see if they live up to the hype.
Fair.
Hey, I
Yeah.
said what I said.
You
and
said
if I
what you
It's like
said.
going to America and be like, I want to try McDonald's. It's like, what are we doing? Yeah, come
I
on.
do. As a matter of
Get outside the
fact,
box a little bit.
I'm having tacos in Mexico also, okay? Which I've had
They're
some
really
in Mexico
good.
City. Whew, the avocados
Fire.
in Mexico, way better,
Avocados
man.
in Mexico.
Yeah, hey, it is a different life over there, okay? The avocado is just so much better. It's too good.
They don't just eat the fish and chips, though, right? Like they put like vinegar on
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
they dress it a little
Malt
differently than
vinegar.
you would expect.
I still put malt vinegar on my fish to this
I
day.
love that.
Do you really?
I like tartar sauce.
It's good on your fries, too.
Yes, it is, okay?
And you wanted to actually try the peas, though.
Yeah, the mushed peas.
Last
mushed
time I went over there,
That's
I don't
right.
even know if I tasted the mushed peas that come along. They just don't make it look good. You know?
No, it's not good.
What is the peas for? I don't even want
It's
to
like
ask
a
that question.
baby.
No, we're good.
Remember
I
when
don't
we
even
ate
want-
those as kids?
I do not remember those.
Oof,
I
I
ate
ate
filet
smushed-
mignon as a baby.
Oh, did you? That's the
Hell
life,
no.
man. I
Not
ate
even
probably
close.
like the snot that was on my
Unbelievable.
pacifier. Here, stick it back in.
We was in the project houses. That probably was eating whatever my mom was eating. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And it wasn't filet. I didn't get steak until high school.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
just didn't choose to eat
So
it.
the background on their peas. The peas are not just
God.
they don't just have some peas and then mash them. They are peas that have been dried
Oh.
and then soaked.
Ooh.
So they dry them, they save them. It's kind of like how we use pinto beans. Then they'll mash them, and then they are soaked overnight with water and baking soda, rinsed
Ugh.
with fresh water, and then cooked in a saucepan, covered in water, and brought to a bowl.
Heck yeah.
Salt and pepper.
That is a lot for peas.
But it's like just like what we do for like refried beans
I guess,
or pinto
yeah,
beans,
that's
black beans,
true.
any kind of beans.
Huh. I guess it makes sense.
I wonder if those make you too. The pea.
For sure. Any
You
kind
know?
of
Who's
legume.
to say?
Because it's like refried beans. Yeah, pintos. Yep.
Huh. Thank you, Bird. That was nice in the research department, man. That's
what I'm here for.
He's an investigative reporter.
I will either be
no
having a
idea.
minced beef and onion meat pie,
Okay.
a steak and ale meat pie. Sounds really good.
That sounds good.
Ox cheek and mushroom.
That's what I'm into.
That's what I would
Sorry,
be.
what's ox cheek?
Couldn't tell you.
Literally.
No.
Just like a fatty part.
The
of
cheek
the-
meat is actually some of the best meat on
Oh,
the
yeah.
animal.
Cheeks?
Yeah. Fish cheeks is also sold, too. It's really,
That
really
part
good.
of the face.
Grouper
Yeah.
cheeks.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Cheeks.
the perfect segue to what Robert Saleh is telling his New York Jets to do against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you haven't seen this quote, you think I'm making an awkward transition? No, this
No.
is the perfect segue. Talking about stopping the tush push on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Robert Saleh says Wednesday, if the quarterback carries the ball, we've got to give him 11 kisses. Word for word what he had to say.
That
Give him
wasn't-
11 kisses.
That wasn't the Nickelodeon translation.
Yep.
Like for the
Kids
Nickelodeon
Bob.
show.
Yeah.
It's the Kids
Oh,
Bob
oh.
translation, yeah.
He ain't lying. People want this play to go away. Abuse the quarterback.
Yeah.
Abuse the quarterback. That's the only way. Or teams decide not to put their quarterbacks in harm's way.
Rams stopped it twice over the weekend.
And I'm sure they would dive in over the pile to push and hit him and tap him. He not wrong. That's the only way this play is going to get outlawed.
Give him kisses.
You trying to protect the quarterback, tap him.
Titans stopped it once last year
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
the Eagles.
They did.
Just couldn't get it twice.
Did you guys see Jason Kelsey complaining about this on his podcast, saying that since no
No.
one's able to stop it, now people are going to start faking injuries like they do when people try to go tempo, and he is concerned that people are going to start faking injuries, so they will have a case next year. He went full X-Files.
Wow.
He went full X-Files.
How would that help them? How is because you can't fake an injury and like stop a play mid play.
No, it would be during the play. They would say that players are getting injured
Oh,
during the
okay.
play,
Yeah.
and then next year when they go
You
to
can come back
meetings,
and-
they would
yeah.
say,
Yep.
"Hey, look at all these injuries that happened on the tush push. We need to
Interesting.
cancel it." But I still think that's a little too conspiracy theory for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should stop it. Not even a little bit.
Spoken like an offensive
If you
lineman.
can do it and execute it like Eagles do, well, then good for you.
Good for you.
Oh, I think, too, if there's ever a play that is glitched like that, but it's in favor of the offense, NFL's not going to do anything.
You wouldn't
NFL
think.
wants good offenses and good quarterbacks to continue drives and continue to have the ball in their hands. And this does exactly that.
Do they? Is it possible to do that play on Madden? As just quarterback sneak on Madden?
I don't
Do
know.
they-
I haven't bought a Madden in 3 years.
I didn't know if you were playing it or not.
You'd have to ask Joe Hunk.
Joe Heasy.
I heard he's a professional at it.
I doubt that one. I highly doubt Joe Heasy is that good. He won last week in the Titans
I
lost.
heard.
Joe Heasy, you need to lose more.
I did buy a new Xbox last weekend, though. I went to Walmart at 9:30 p.m. No free shout-outs. Impulsively bought a new Xbox.
Those are the best buys.
It wasn't really impulsive. It was after the NSC game, and I had been meaning to do it for a week because I realized I had the same Xbox One since I was in like middle school. I was like, I'm kind of older now. I should probably upgrade this. Plus, the new NCAA football game next year, I think people are guessing it's only going to be available on the new like next-gen system. Might as well go ahead and beat the rush.
Right? And the price increase.
Yeah.
It's been out for a while.
Has it?
It's a good bit cheaper now than it used to be, but
All good. All good. Look at you. Still playing games with life. Huh.
I will be playing Xbox well into my 30s. 100% chance.
Wow.
100%.
And I
chance.
was excited to get it. Hadn't even played the game.
There was a tweet during COVID that blew up that said, when guys grow up, they graduate from Xbox to golf. I'm not good enough at golf yet to fully graduate. It's like I'm taking both courses. I'm in dual enrollment right now between Xbox and golf. I switch back and forth.
Then you turn 30 and you have a choice to get really into history or smoking meats. And I'm kind of riding the fence, man.
You're thinking about the Roman Empire?
I don't know which way I want to go.
What is
Smoking
wrong with
meats.
y'all? Yeah.
No, the Roman. Have you not heard the Roman Empire thing?
No.
It was a trend. All right, Ramon, how much do you think about the Roman Empire?
A lot.
Like how often?
How often? Not often.
Once a week?
No, once a month or so.
Okay. There was a TikTok trend. That's probably why you haven't heard of it. That females would ask their male significant others, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And they were shocked to learn that men think about the Roman Empire like weekly. I don't at all. I don't think about the Roman Empire at all. But this was a thing that was happening on internet in real time.
Unless I see it on like social media somewhere. Now it's gonna hit my freaking algorithm.
It is. That's okay, though.
But you guys don't ever think about aquifers or anything like that?
Not even a little bit.
Aquifers?
That's how they transferred fresh water back in the day.
I was
Ramon.
born and raised in Brentwood, Tennessee. I don't think about that at all. I'm not sophisticated enough.
Yeah, absolutely not.
615-737-1045 our number. More Titans headlines from yesterday, the injury report, and the quote from Mike Vrabel that we discussed with Coach Mack that I certainly found interesting yesterday about a certain offensive lineman. We'll dive into that coming up next.
It's football season and it's time to switch to Zen Sports. They're the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee. They're changing the betting bonus game with their cash rewards program. Like when you sign up with Zen Sports with the referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. 5%. Think about that for a second, okay? On Zen Sport, if you keep betting, you keep earning also. You can earn 3% of your betting volume every month with their cash loyalty programs. What other sportsbook is rewarding you every month with cash, not credits or points, okay? So stop wasting your time and money on other sportsbooks when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. So download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
What's going on? 701. Good morning from the 1045 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. First Titans report, injury report, that is, of the week came out yesterday. 5 players not practicing for the Titans. Wide receiver Traylon Burks, Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tier Tart, all labeled with the DNP. Aziz Al-Shire, Aaron Brewer were both limited with neck injuries, while Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins missed practice but designated as rest. For the Ravens, Jadeveon Clowney, Odafe Awe, and Geno Stone missed practice. Clowney was said to be an illness and should be able to go on Sunday. Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick McCary, and Morgan Moses were all limited. And you got Thursday Night Football tonight, Chiefs and Broncos, 7:15 on Amazon Prime, or right here on 1045 The Zone. Chiefs have already ruled out Frank Clark with an illness. Travis Kelce is questionable but did practice this week. Broncos also getting a little firepower back in running back Javonte Williams, who is practicing with no injury designation. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 1045 The Zone.
Hour number 2 starts now on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 1045 The Zone. In 15 minutes, a little college football weekend preview for you. Yeah. Starting in Knoxville and going around the country where you've got some traditional matchups and then some very non-traditional matchups between teams that are contending for playoff places. You can join us on 1045 The Zone TV, watching our beautiful faces for radio on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
If you got 4 devices, we encourage you to just, pull them all up. Mm-hmm. Watch all at once.
Use all of them.
Multitask.
Yeah, use all of them. We'll appreciate it. Absolutely.
I don't want to distract from the task at hand, but can someone just tell me where the hell Twitch Please came from?
Don Davenport, when we began 1045 The Zone TV in April of 2021, the my best brainchild, not really, in a very different iteration, Zone TV back then. Every time 3HL would do a live show on the road, I would always go with them, and I was the Zone TV producer. Mm-hmm. So every time, I'm outing Brent a little bit here, but I don't think he would mind me saying this, he would look at me to be like, what all platforms are we on? Like live on the air.
Right.
Because it is, there's 4 to remember. Like, it was very new at that point. I don't blame Brent at all.
I still get confused.
And he'd be like, what are we on? Like, we're on YouTube. And I would yell Facebook. Like, I didn't have a mic like Joe does for these remotes now. I was not given that luxury. And so I would just yell Twitch, and then Dawn would say Twitch please every single time.
Yeah. Dawn.
Very nice. Okay.
That is the history according to Will.
Love it. Because I've always wondered, we always bring it up, but I never knew how it came to be.
Sure. Yeah, I've been listening to The Zone obviously for a while, and that's the one thing I always knew was Dawn's thing.
Yeah.
And it is hard to not say. When you hear Twitch, you seriously in your head go, Twitch please.
See, I watch Twitch every day, but
do you?
To watch video game stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
That's still, I don't know. That's probably a part of my life I don't let on that's a part of my life to any of you, but I still watch people playing other games. I got big into that during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Watching COD, watching Warzone.
Yeah. Huh,
but I know that's something that 1% of you can relate to. So we're going to move on.
Well, by the way,
615-737-1045.
They asked where was Will yesterday because both Ramon and I were on the show. I called in because we had callers
3HL.
calling 3HL saying Babs and Kayla, are they the same? Oh. And Babs and I were like, let's end this.
Perfect.
So, and then Ramon called in later.
Yeah, I was in the 5 o'clock yesterday.
And Brent's like, where's Will?
My invite got lost in maybe they sent it to London already, and maybe my invite will be
Braves.
there when.
Yeah. They asked me about you too. Yeah. And I was like, you were out here stressing with a C.
I wasn't stressing. That was cool yesterday.
Well, when I got on,
You got 2
yesterday,
tries to win 1 game.
When I went on yesterday, they had just went up 3-1. I think is what it was.
At that point, I wasn't stressed at all. I was like,
were
okay,
you
we'll
not?
go get them
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong in my
And they were
assessment
watching
then.
it, right? In
Yeah,
here?
I think so. I'm
I
pretty
would
sure
tell
it was
you,
on.
too. You know, I would tell you if my heart rate was up
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
was like really, really stressed. I was stressed before the game.
Yeah.
Not like unhealthily. And then when they hit the 3-run homer to make it 4-1, it's like, okay, go get them tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess that was me projecting how I thought you felt as
Yeah.
a human being, Will, about your sports teams. But all you really want is to still win in Philly anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got Max Fried pitching at home in Game 5 if you can get it there, which you'd feel pretty good about.
Yeah,
Max
yeah.
Fried's won a World Series, unlike all the Philadelphia Phillies players.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I just wanted to talk about you on air in a bad way.
I figured.
Figured.
It's okay.
Oh, good.
Look, you and Slay have made it a big part of your daily lives to make me stress less about my sports teams.
Yeah.
And you've done a
that's
good job.
Good thing.
Yeah. Okay, this thing's supposed to be fun and enjoy sports.
My family and friends, thank you.
I'd
Yeah.
say that, and here I am screaming at my TV on the back porch at times.
Exactly.
Right?
I've all-
What's the one team you scream at?
That's the
Steelers?
Vols gonna always.
Oh, the
scream
Vols,
at
okay.
that.
Always.
I'm more emotional
With the Vols.
about college, which I know we're about to have a big college conversation here after the break. I am far more.
Yep.
I'm talking about emotional, eccentric. What do you like? Just charismatic, and so many things about my sports teams. The Vols
Specifically, yeah.
specifically.
Me too.
I'm saying
Basketball and football.
have almost in baseball now too instituted a no visitor policy at the house when watching the game.
Oh, I have done that.
Like
Yeah, no, I've
that's
done
just where I'm at. Like, and it's just like I like having people around. Okay, it's just how we are as a family. Our entire family is that way. If nobody's at our house on the weekends, the boys are like, nobody. Nana's not coming over. Nobody's coming over this weekend. It's like, no, we can actually enjoy each other too. So watching the game with people is on the docket always too. But when the Vols is on,
And it's a big
So we're
game,
watching
yeah.
somewhere Saturday night.
got to protect myself.
We are together.
Can
Are we
I
committing to
handle
this?
watching the game with you?
Of course you can.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys, but
I'm not that bad.
Okay. Yeah.
You better figure
From
that
what I'm
out.
hearing, we're similar.
Yeah, we are.
Watching
We are.
games together.
Now you'll be in a pub though doing it.
Well, we might be in a hotel
Right?
room watching on a laptop that has a legal stream. We're going to do it legally.
We'll do it legal.
We'll do it legal.
I will
Yeah.
never underestimate the Vols fandom because Lucas, you could probably say Lucas is a mild-mannered, calm.
Even keel.
I watched the opener with him this year against Virginia, and he was in the bar screaming, "Kill him!"
Oh my god!
Hit him.
I'm like, Lucas, I've never seen this side of you before.
Wow,
Well,
that was Lucas.
Brazilian soccer and AC Milan and the Azzurri, I would imagine, is on the same level for Lucas.
That's true.
The Azzurri is the Italian national team, for those unfamiliar.
Is college the only sport that does it to you
No.
like that, or is it a southern
No, it depends on
college
the
fan?
depends on the area of the country you were raised in.
Okay.
And your emotional attachment. Like, I've kind of
Yeah.
detached
Yeah.
myself from ECU because
Have
they
you?
they just haven't been good for a while now. They
I
had a
see
decent
that.
season last year. So now when they hurt me, I can't get hurt because I'm emotionally detached.
All right, quick question before we get to the Titans injury report. What is the one game that made you angriest? Not saddest. There's a difference. I have different answers. What is the one game that made you angriest?
Angriest, ECU was playing UCF at home. This was the Brashad Perryman game. ECU was up 5 points, and rather than trying to get a first down to run the clock out, they opted to kneel and give the ball back with 20 seconds. ECU defense was celebrating before the ball was snapped.
Okay.
Brashad Perryman runs a streak down the field, catches a touchdown. It was like a 75-yard touchdown
Okay.
to win the game. I left the stadium and laid in the grass beside the stadium for at least an hour. I was
It's a
so distraught.
good first one.
Mine.
I know mine.
I got two and one specifically. One for sure, the loss to Wyoming my senior year.
Yeah.
That one as a player, as a
Yeah.
fan, Terrence Cody blocking the field goal.
He's
He's a
Alabama.
big
more
fat
sad.
ass.
I know, man. And then he goes, respectfully, Burt played for Baltimore, and I tried to dog him every chance I
He
had.
wasn't
the
good.
opportunity. I know!
Saw a lot of footballs, but not a lot of salads.
I'll tell you mine real
What
quick.
was yours?
So it was, and I was home for this back in Washington, which I never get home. Number 16, Washington. Number 7, Wazoo. Gardner Minshew, the quarterback. Mike Leach, the coach. Jake Browning for UW. And we, in the snow, which we thrive in Pullman, Washington, we can't We can't get it done.
Couldn't get it done.
28 to 15. And I remember just sitting in that bar with my family and friends, and I was the one sitting right up against the screen.
See, that's why you don't go to bars and watch games and emotional moments.
I
right
know.
there. That's
And
why.
it was just not good.
Don't invite me.
Not good.
Don't invite me nowhere to watch a game with y'all, okay? Unless it's at a house.
Tennessee BYU 2019.
Tennessee BYU. Oh, my God.
Third down and what? 20? Tennessee BYU 2019. Also Titans Bengals AFC divisional round.
Why you got to go there?
Well, because a lot of people can relate to that. and it's my answer. So this is my truth that I'm speaking.
This is your truth.
By
Injury
the way,
report.
the Cougs were going to go to the Pac-12 championship game, too, if they would have won that. Sorry.
See?
Injury report yesterday. Non-participants in practice included Traylon Burks, Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tier Tarts. Non-participants for Baltimore, Jadeveon Clowney, Odafe Owe, Geno Stone. Limited participants for the Titans, Azeez Al-Shire, Aaron Brewer, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins and Henry both with rest days, no concern there.
Yep.
Limited for the Ravens, Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick McCarry, the right tackle, illness/chest. So 2 designations for him. Morgan Moses, the tackle with the shoulder. And then no full participants listed for the Titans. And the 1 full participant listed for the Ravens was Keaton Mitchell. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're making too many people sad in the F&N Bank chat.
Oh, no.
Talking about our
balls.
angry losses. So, coming up next, we preview the college football weekend. We'll be so heavy talking Titans in London tomorrow that we'll dive into the biggest games going on in the college football world this weekend. Starting in Knoxville at 2:30 Central Time. What are you most interested to see when Tennessee, as a 3-point favorite, takes on Jimbo Fisher's Fighting Texas Aggies? We'll discuss that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, y'all. And I'm here to tell you, man, I'm going to lead off by telling you this, man. You can trust Hiller because of these reasons right here. They have a guarantee on their service, and it says this: happy you'll be, the service is free. It don't get any more simple than that, okay? And if you have some things around your home that you've been putting off, like your regular HVAC maintenance or clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts this month. When the temperature drop and you're just starting to use that heater for the first time, you don't want to be dealing with breakdowns and issues. This month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-ups, okay? And they've also brought back their $99 drain cleaning special. For just $99, Hiller will get you back up and running with no issues whatsoever. These deals only last this month. So if you need anything done around your house, whether that be plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical, reach out to the folks that I know at happyhiller.com.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Previewing a little bit of college football this morning before we head across the pond and college football becomes unavailable in pubs. You can join us tomorrow live from the Admiralty on Friday the 13th.
Ooh, spooky.
Courtesy of the Ingram Agency. For more info, 1045thezone.com/events. We will be there. Buck Rising will be there. Little 1045 The Zone Titans party across the pond from noon to 7 as perhaps some locals pregame and tailgate for a little bit of English soccer that's going on tomorrow night that we may or may not be visiting as well. I do have our tickets for that. They do not do electronic tickets over there.
That's what you said.
Paper ticket place.
My kind of place.
Forgot how to print a ticket on a sheet of paper, but
I love paper
those have been, that's the one thing I have packed is the tickets and my passport.
It's like, by golly, if I'm going to forget anything, it won't be those tickets.
I've not really packed any clothes yet. But
You have not?
that's just like because I had to do laundry first. And it's like, we'll just throw the 5 things that are clean in a bag and then we'll roll from there.
Yeah.
Look, it's an easy process for me.
It is.
I know
man.
it doesn't have to be for everyone, but it is for me.
Be.
Yeah. Well, I did it last night, so I'm locked and loaded. So I'm ready to roll, I think.
I got a lot more productive once the Braves game was out of reach. So
yeah,
I did do that.
it's true.
Once Bryce Harper stared down another guy with a World Series ring that he doesn't have for a second time. I think that's why he stared down Orlando Arcia. He wanted to get a closer look at a guy who'd won a World Series. I did get a question about that, so let me do a 30-second rant.
Go ahead.
Because our guy Big Orange Mac at Ramon Kayla Will said, can Will speak on the made-up beef between Harper and Arcia? So essentially, here we go. You can even time me. Orlando Arcia in the clubhouse after the Braves beat the Phillies on Monday said, "Attaboy Harper," allegedly, according to a Fox writer. Here's the thing. Orlando Arcia doesn't speak English. He speaks Spanish.
Wow.
So, I don't 100% believe that this quote happened. Even if it did, that's an offhand comment made to a teammate that someone overheard in the locker room. This was not Orlando Arcia in a media scrum saying, yeah, attaboy Harper, that appreciate you. Like,
Time.
No. Okay. So then
Oh my God.
Bryce Harper last night hit 2 home runs because Bryce Harper owns the Braves. He's had I literally think it's 45 home runs in his career against the Braves. He's incredible against Atlanta. But the broadcast made a big deal out of this, of him staring down Arcia as he rounded second. It's like, what did you want him to, this was a moment in the clubhouse that was taken out of context that I don't even think happened. But let's say even if it did, it wasn't to media in a scrum. This was to a teammate away from media that someone overheard and then put in an article.
Oh, geez.
Like Brandon Marsh, the left fielder for the Phillies, was asked about it before the game. He said, yeah, we don't really care. These are 2 rivals. And then they just used it as a story. So it's the most made up, this was nothing. This was absolutely not. There are so many better storylines you can pick in this.
You know why I hate when people make a big deal over stuff like this? Because the majority of folks love stuff like this. This is what everybody wants out of sports. And why are we crying boo-hoo at stuff that happens within the game like this when everybody wants, let me get the rawness. You guys need to keep it more real. Hey, no, we need some real ones out there that talk trash. The trash talking is a part of it. Why is it a big deal if it helps the game out? I love a little trash talk. Absolutely love a little stare down.
Well, media just loves Philadelphia right now, too.
Yeah, they do.
The Eagles are fun. The Phillies have a fun fan base. They were doing the chop in Philadelphia last night.
Word? Yeah.
Those fans call it racist for 364 days a year, and then they will do it, which I don't know how you can justify doing both of those things either. It's either one or the other. You either do it or you think it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And our feelings on that will stay aside. But still, whatever. It was. Braves deserved to get their butts kicked last night, and they did.
They
so
did.
Didn't surprise me. Got the ace going tonight. Think they'll be just fine tonight.
Was that the young guy on the mound last night that you were talking
Bryce
about?
Elder. Well,
Yeah.
they didn't go with the one that I was hoping they
Yeah.
would. They didn't go with the 20-year-old. They went with, I want to say Bryce Elder's 23 or 24, who had a 5+ ERA in his last 10 starts.
Is your travel going to affect your ability to watch this game at all?
No, so where we are, there will be an easy way to watch the game. It's on TBS. The time has been moved back now because the Dodgers could not be bothered to force even a Game 4. So since they got swept, now the start time goes back 2 hours. So it'll be 8 o'clock Eastern. And I believe the London leg of our flight we take off at like 6:30, I believe. So I will probably not get as much sleep on the plane as I would. I'm not a big sleep on a plane guy anyway. So I'll just be watching the game. So.
Yeah.
That's the best sleep I ever get.
It's on
On
plane?
the plane?
Really?
Oh, yeah. I always try to lay on my neighbors.
See,
I'm always nervous I'm going to do that. So then I don't.
Y'all weren't on planes filled with players.
No.
Fall asleep on the plane, they're pouring water down your mouth.
You're
taking
right. That's
pictures of
scary.
you.
That's how I was on the team bus in college too.
Yeah, maybe that you look at him separating the team bus versus team.
Well, no, I mean
Team
I was
bus.
never good enough to travel to the really far ones. That's why. I mean, we did fly. I just didn't because I was really slow in college. Wasn't slow in high school though. Ha! Okay.
I'm one of those people who like my head nods to the side, like I like this, and then I'm like, and I'll wake myself up. Like it's so embarrassing.
Break your neck over there trying to catch some Z's.
Break your neck.
Man, from high school all the way up. That's the reason. That's probably why I'm traumatic about sleeping on plane. Look at this picture. I got
right,
one
though.
with me and Anthony Partner sleeping right next to Coach Former's wife on the plane. It is and she sent it to us. Like, look at you guys. I'm like, Miss Vicky, this is why I have trauma about sleeping on planes. But it was cool though.
You think you'll be all right on the Titans plane? Think you get some sleep?
I have faith in you.
Oh no, we'll see.
Somehow you'll make it.
Rhett and Mac trying to do something to drum up
Mike
something.
Keith, I'm worried about is
Is
him.
it?
Nah, I'm joking. He's not a prankster like that. Consummate pro.
Let's talk some college football this weekend. Tennessee, Texas A&M at 2:30. What's your biggest question for the Vols taking on the fighting Texas Aggies?
Considering what Florida did at the Swamp, and I know that was a road game, but it was said yesterday to us, can that defense stop the run against Texas A&M at home? And on the other side of it, can they not get beat up by the A&M defensive line? Those are my two. Of course, linemen thinking about those things, but the reason they lost in Florida is because they couldn't stop the run off the defensive right side.
And that's the first place I go is just because that's when you think of A&M this year. That's kind of what you think about is defensively, especially the front. So I think Joe Mixon, can he just
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton, thank you.
Yep.
Not talking about the Cincinnati Bengals running back. Joe Milton, can he manage enough in terms of the game to not make mistakes, first and foremost? But if the run game, I think the run game getting going is important, right? You have to have that be part of this game if they want to win. There is some dynamic playmakers that they have on that offense. I think they've got one of their wide receivers, pretty interesting dude in terms of being able to contain him.
Naismith.
Naismith, and there's like one more, I think, too. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I think the defense, though, is honestly trending in the right direction for the Tennessee Vols. So I feel like comfortable with them being able to manage that part of the game.
I got another complaint too, which is why not a complaint concern, but us pushing the ball down the field.
Yeah.
I want to see a little bit more of that. I want to be able to see them not just push it down the field, but connect on those things. Those are my concern because this team thrives off of chunk plays and catching defenses on their heels when they have that ability to after those first downs like that.
Yeah, Evan Stewart, Aniyah Smith, and Le'Veon Moss, the big three playmakers for Texas A&M. Moss, 62 carries for 325 coming in. And Aniyah Smith and Evan Stewart have been terrific through the air. 26 catches for 431 for Aniyah Smith, 27 for 403. Those are the names you're going to hear for A&M. We'll talk with Brent Hubbs about this time tomorrow as well. But I think with Texas A&M and how good their run defense is, it's going to come down to Joe Milton extending plays or going over the top on his first read. And the two questions I have, one on each side of the football for Tennessee this weekend, starting with the offense, do you see more tight end usage in the first game without Brew McCoy?
Truth.
Brent Hubbs wrote about this on VolQuest earlier this week, talking about with the loss of Brew, feels like it could mean a bigger role for Jacob Warren, veteran tight end, who was pretty good against South Carolina. They went to him a good bit, had 5 targets in that game. I wonder if the personnel changes just a little bit with the tight end becoming a bigger part of this offense and maybe trying to spring more of those blocks on the outside, because I think where Tennessee is going to have trouble on something we haven't spoken about is Brew McCoy is an outstanding blocker.
Yeah.
You essentially have another tight end in the run game blocking on the perimeter. And there was one touchdown last season. No, it was this season. McAllen Castle's touchdown against Austin Peay.
Oh, yeah.
The tight end screen left, second half, where Brew McCoy was forklifting a guy 40 yards down the field.
Yep, I remember that because I called it. I was like, McCallie, you need to say thank you to Brew. That's a wide receiver pushing dudes around like that. But Jacob Warren, last year, he played a big role playing outside as far as the wide receiver screen game, too. There is the capabilities of him being able to do that in game. But, of course, when you had Brew outside, there was no need for him. Jacob hadn't actually played as much as I thought he was going to this year anyway. And I feel like McAllen is also one of those guys that's warrants the ball in his hand. He's good. They recruited him to be that in the transfer portal, right?
Jim Nagy has said on Twitter that he's a Senior Bowl candidate, a strong Senior Bowl candidate for this offseason.
Absolutely. So watching Jacob get more reps, and he's capable of that interception that was thrown in the South Carolina game. They underthrew that one. Jacob Warren had him beat again. He possibly could have had 2 touchdowns in that game. So I do expect him, a guy that came back that has size and is very athletic, to be able to be on the outside like that if some of these young wide receivers don't fill that role.
Yeah, I would love to see McAllen Castles play outside. Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb, the 2 guys who will likely get some of the snaps there outside. Webb was highly recruited. Nimrod, not quite as much, but was still a guy Tennessee obviously wanted and wanted to keep in the transfer portal. Defensively, for this one, I just want to know is Tennessee's defense good enough to win you a low-scoring game? This feels like it could be a 27-24, 28-21 kind of game. A&M is good on defense, and A&M is going to take away the elementary part of what you want to do on offense. Can you pass calculus without having to pass pre-algebra? That's the best way I would describe this for Tennessee this weekend, and that's something that Hendon Hooker was so good at doing because he could make plays off schedule. And he could turn a play that was covered up and turn it into a positive gain for Tennessee because the scheme worked for the defense, but Hendon was just that good.
Yeah.
I need to see if Tennessee's defense can make up for the fact that Hendon Hooker doesn't have that playmaking ability to help them on the other side of the football. I think this is a big day for Tennessee's defense. I do think Tennessee wins the game, but I think this one is going to be white-knuckle the whole way home. Whole way. And if this was in College Station, I would be saying the opposite, and I'd be saying A&M wins, and it's going to be close the whole way as well. I think these 2 teams are pretty equal. I think A&M is solid, and I think this is the kind of team that gives Tennessee trouble, is the team that can stop the run, take away the basics, and force you to pass calculus on offense.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Joe Milton have to do that, because even against Clemson last year, Tennessee could run the football.
They could. They could. I'm actually laying on the fact I think they would run the ball well against them. I will look at this and say getting to the red zone against this team and closing out for touchdowns is where huge. I kind of want to see them, which is why I'm asking for chunk plays. Yep. If they can get them reeling well, I just think with how young that team is defensively, A&M, I think you can take advantage of. And again, hopefully, this is my thing, and I'm working on the hope creed here, okay? Hopefully, Cooper Mays being back at center is what actually balances out this offensive line.
This is where you learn his value.
You do.
This is the game. More so than South Carolina, who can't stop a nosebleed on defense and certainly can't stop the run. Bottom of the SEC in that. This is where you learn if your offensive line, when totally healthy, all 5 of them, first-choice players, are good enough to impose their will on a good defense. So that's what we'll learn in Knoxville over the weekend. Big one as well between Washington and Oregon.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Winner of this one becomes the biggest contender in the Pac-12. Michael Penix, in 6 starts this year, has been terrific. Bo Nix leads the country in completion percentage at 80.4% and is on the pace to break the all-time mark. He is the 5th most efficient quarterback in FBS after 6 weeks of play, and his 184.7 rating is just a little bit off Marcus Mariota when that team went on to play Florida State, beat them in the semifinal, and go on to the national championship game. Question for you guys is, does the winner of this game's quarterback take over the number 1 spot for the Heisman Trophy?
Yes. I would say yes on that. first of all, the Pac-12 is. I feel like there's going to be a Heisman winner coming out of it
This year?
this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that, and look, I've already said Brock Bowers. If I could have a vote, at least right now, I just like to be different. And I think Brock Bowers has clearly made his case for why he is an MVP.
Yeah.
But when you come to your consensus and your understanding of how they do this, it's probably going to be a quarterback, right?
Definitely.
And I think you're right, Will. I think whoever comes out of this game victorious, they will be the heavy favorite at that point. And this is, I don't know if you guys know this. I talk about the rivalry between Washington and Washington State. Y'all, these two hate each other. When I'm talking about hate, like disdain.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because they're both successful programs, more so like Washington, more the traditional, because they've been around as a more traditional program, where Oregon, everything that comes along with Oregon has made Oregon Oregon.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes them such bitter rivals. It's going to be close. It's the reason why I think Huskies favored by 3 right now, but it's in Seattle.
Yep.
And it's going to be wild there. That stadium, actually, the Purple Rain is what they call it. It can get pretty crazy there, just like Eugene.
Shout out Prince.
Yeah, you shout out Prince. But I do think just that home field advantage, because everything's so close. Penix, Bo Nix, the way they're playing. Will mention the defense, though, by Washington, maybe a little less accountability-wise. I don't know if I can...
Specifically on the run.
Yeah,
in the run game.
Look at them and say that's the better defense.
Yep.
But I just think the edge is going to give it to the Huskies. Dude, I'm pumped for this.
Yeah. Okay.
2:30 on ABC.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has only played into the fourth quarter in one of their 5 wins this year.
That's nuts.
That's how much they've blown out teams.
You got to do it then. I need to see it. And Oregon's bringing out the, what is this, the green splatter jersey.
Which
can't
one?
keep up with
Which one's, Moan?
Green
splatter too?
Mina Kimes was like, you guys look like cookies and cream out here.
You know how much I was obsessed with their jerseys in high school?
Really?
Same.
Like, and
Really?
plus they are like Phil Knight and Steve Prefontaine. Like, they are probably the second or third biggest track powerhouse as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hayward Field is always where NCAAs and everything. Like, I was obsessed with Oregon.
You know what's funny
Totally
about Phil,
obsessed.
too? He only wears black.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you see these unis, he only wears black all the
That's
time.
very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Ran with Steve Prefontaine at Oregon.
Yep.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
GOAT.
I used to love that movie,
Good one.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
6:30 on Peacock, USC at Notre Dame. Interesting that ESPN only gives USC a 38% chance of winning this game. Notre Dame's exhausted, man.
I agree.
You seen the teams that they've had to play back to back to back to back?
Get in the conference. then.
Maybe they should, yeah.
Exactly,
Join a
Moan.
conference.
Preach.
They're playing all these out of, what do you want to call them, these test games that they have to prove themselves why they belong in the college football playoffs?
Well,
Get out
but
of conference.
the ACC teams that they have played are the good ACC teams. They've played Louisville. They've played Duke.
Mm-hmm.
They've played Ohio State. And now they get USC. I just think, they lose that game last week. I saw Josh Pate 247 and Late Kick Live talking about this. They're just exhausted.
Good.
I mean, Tom Glavine talks about this in baseball, how the amount of stressful pitches that you have to have as a pitcher wears on you over the course of the season. The amount of stressful plays that you got to play. It's one thing to play every week and to travel every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing for all of those snaps in those games to all be high-stress snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame has played in a big game 4 straight weeks. I like USC at least to cover this line.
I actually do too, Will.
38% chance seems far too low for USC to go to Notre Dame and win this. I don't think Notre Dame is that good to stop and outscore Caleb Williams enough.
That's the point.
I think people are overreacting a little bit to USC looking so bad against against Arizona last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 6:30 on Peacock for that one. So hope you have your password ready for Peacock.
I might need to borrow.
I don't think I have people.
615-737. Do you not?
Nope.
Oh. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of myself as a soccer fan that in order to watch
you have to have it.
the Premier League.
You can always do you a free
Okay.
trial.
I don't
I
have
can
every
ask Joshua
subscription.
Perry.
You know how many
our buddy.
fake emails
Yeah,
I've made?
Have you really?
Oh, yeah.
I
I
have
ain't
too,
paying for
Bert.
nothing.
Me too, Bert.
Oh, wow.
Coming up next,
We're
NFL
just a
headlines. Couple of players banged up. Thursday Night Football tonight, and a crazy stat about Patrick Mahomes and something he will do for the first time in his career tonight. That's next on RKW. Rolling right along on RKW, brewed by 8th and Rose right here on 104.5 The Zone. Little status quo for you this morning. We're rocking all over the world, and we'll be heading across the world.
Yeah.
Smith Road. This is one of the Arsenal songs that I'm going to be singing a lot on the plane. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Chris will be talking to you from the heart of London tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Coming up, we'll give you a little bit of what Coach Mack said bright and early with us this morning on stopping Lamar Jackson. That was interesting in ways that this Ravens offense is very different from past Ravens offenses. We'll get to that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But guys, tonight on Thursday Night Football, there is a very interesting aspect of this game that is maybe one that you should remember when you make your Thursday 3 picks. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice.
I'm listening.
Coming up here for the 4th hour. James Palmer tweets this out yesterday at James Palmer TV, NFL Media. Patrick Mahomes has never faced the last-ranked scoring defense in his career until tonight when he takes on the Denver Broncos.
Really?
Never in his career has Patrick Mahomes played the number 32 defense in terms of scoring defense in the NFL. Yet tonight he does.
Have you heard the other stat about this game?
What's that, Robert?
That the Broncos have lost 15 straight to the Kansas City Chiefs.
That is a good stat.
They have not won since the last time Peyton Manning was there in the Super Bowl.
Gosh,
they have not
that's
won.
That's crazy.
Good for them, man. Wow.
Dang.
I mean, I was listening to this morning to Chris Canty them speak about it. It was on ESPN radio and stuff, and they were talking about Russell. Like, this could be the last week for him if they lose this game. Yeah. Like, trade conversation is going to be up with Russell Wilson. I'm just thinking to myself, who the heck is trading for Russell Wilson now?
Oh, gosh, you're going to have somebody in the chat pop up and say the Titans should do it within 20 seconds.
I won't allow that. I will not allow that. He will get pushed out of this city in a snap.
Man, it just doesn't make sense financially for you to want to pay for a guy. And that's pretty much a mercenary that's kicked out of his team at that point. I almost look at it as like, is it the coach? Or is it Russ at this point?
I think it's Russ.
And, of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, his stat line is. Yeah, your stat line can go up when you're losing by a whole lot of points, too. Oh, I don't think Russell's bad. He's not good this year or last year either, I guess.
Well, to try to confuse you guys even more, now that I've helped you make a bet, I'll go on the other side to give you reasoning to make the other pick. Mm-hmm. Chiefs 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 against an AFC West team. So there you go.
Well, there it is. And divisional games, I'm guessing, is why this situation comes up like this. You said 1-6.
1-6 in divisional games against the spread in their last 7.
Well, we'll see.
10.5 the spread.
10.5.
That's a big number.
That is a big number.
But it's a Thursday, and that team is bad.
And it's in Arrowhead.
And it's at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see something out of Russ, though, just to see if it was justified. Again, if Russ doesn't get it together or Joe Burrow doesn't either, we're going to start looking at these quarterbacks differently.
To the phones. Mike in Cleveland is next with us this morning. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What's good, yo? Hey, Moan.
Yo.
Big J. Big journalist. Dog. I just wanted to tell you earlier when y'all was talking about being spotted on the sideline. You know, you had that dad joke, where's Waldo? You know, you turning into the Titans, Waldo, man. Maybe you need to start wearing stripes so you don't get spotted.
Hey, nothing like a good dad joke, Mike. I'm here for them all.
Yeah, man. But I swear, every Sunday on Twitter, I know here somewhere as I'm scrolling, it's going to be a Moan spot pick somewhere, bruh. I know your wardrobe every Sunday. It's you are the Titans Waldo now. It's crazy. But anyway, I was calling. I had put this question in the chat too. And if it's too soon, you already backed me off the ledge. But came into this season thinking Burks was about to be a plus, and now he's just looking like another injury-prone J-Rod pick, man. I'm just wondering, like, when is this young man going to show up? Because we was talking about trading NWY. Right now, NWY, that's our number 2. And he back on the injury report, and I'm just like, they talking about trades and all this stuff. I'm not seeing no bright side of having Burks on this roster. So, You know, that's my comment / question. You did what I'm saying, Moan. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah.
be easy, Kayla. Be easy. That's not bad. That's Kayla. Everybody. Will, I got nothing for you, man. You just
Okay.
hallelujah. That's all I got. Hey, but safe
Feeling
travels. I'll be praying for y'all traveling grace on the way to London. Y'all have a good time, but don't drink too many pints.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mike.
Kenta.
We'll get to that on the other side. We've got some interesting thoughts just around the fan base on Traylon Burks at this point. And it's a good time to dive into the injury report again when we come back. We'll answer that question. We'll get to more Titans headlines as well. We'll hear what Coach Mack had to say about the difference in this Ravens offense this time around versus the last time the Titans saw the Ravens. That and more at halftime of the show coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for the Wang Vision Institute. I went and got my eyes checked about a month ago now, and I'm so happy that I did it because I had been putting that off for a minute, and I learned some things that in the future I might have to, do the LASIK thing, but maybe some of you guys just want to have that done now. This is the place to go, and they really truly do treat you like family. I went through every single process and found out about my eye health. And not only that, I found out when I was there that they offer so much more at the Wang Vision Institute. They also now offer some things for your skin. So they have the intense pulse light treatments, guys, and they are really great treatments. Really, the downtime, 20 to 30 minutes. You go in there, maybe you've got some uneven skin tone and texture or sunspots because as we grow older, we start to see those pop up. Hyperpigmentation, you name it. The IPL treatment is the way to go. You go in there, they kind of just do a couple things. It's non-invasive, and you walk out of there, and your skin is going to be looking a lot more even. You can visit them at wangvisioninstitute.com to find out more. Or maybe you're just interested in finding out about the process or just in terms of LASIK surgery, anything to do with eye health, just going through a process like I did to make sure everything was okay. You can always go on Tuesdays. They do a free consultation, and you can go ahead and RSVP now. You just go online to wangvisioninstitute.com. I'm telling you guys, your eyes, your skin, everything, going to thank you for the long-term effects.
What's going on? 8 o'clock on the dot. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. First Titans injury report of the week came out yesterday. 5 players not practicing, including Traylon Burks, Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tierre Tart. Azeez Al-Shire and Aaron Brewer were limited with neck injuries, while Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins did not practice but were designated as rest. For the Ravens, Jadeveon Clowney, Odafe Awe, and Geno Stone missed practice. Clowney's absence was labeled as an illness. He should be good to go on Sunday. Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick McCary, and Morgan Moses were all limited. And Thursday Night Football tonight, Chiefs and Broncos, 7:15 on Amazon Prime, or right here on 104.5 The Zone. Chiefs have already ruled out Frank Clark with an illness. Travis Kelce is questionable, but did practice this week. Broncos are also getting a little help back in running back Javonte Williams, who is practicing with no injury designation. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thursday morning rolls on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 20 minutes, we'll go inside the Titans locker room as they prepare to go across the pond. And one starter doesn't really say much. That you will hear, some short answers from one certain Titans starter who has been in the news over the last couple of days. 615-737-1045 is the number. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer, I'm Will Bowling. Across the pond, we will be at the Admiralty this time tomorrow, halfway through our show. And we will still have our normal Friday segments with Brent Hubbs, with voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and maybe with you if you're headed over there. Come have a pint with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans over there already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to meeting y'all and rooting on the Titans.
Well, it's kind of falling perfectly for some school districts too, because I think some metros and some schools around around Metro Nashville have gone on fall break too. So
perfect.
If it lined up for you, man, that's probably the perfect fall break vacation right there. A getaway. I don't know if you call fall break a vacation, but that is a good getaway right there.
Did y'all ever have fall breaks?
I did not.
I didn't either.
I had it for one day. We get a day.
Yeah,
off.
we would get one day too.
Maybe a day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We would get one day, and it was always the weekend before the state cross-country meet. Mm-hmm. And so we were strongly encouraged to stay in town, which is the right decision because need to stay healthy.
And that was always the thing about sports. Playing sports in the fall, too, you never really had a break. It was always going to be practice on that Friday any doggone way.
We had so many winter snow days, though, because in the Northwest where I'm from on the east side, it snowed and buses couldn't even get up our hill. So, we had so many snow days, I felt like I had vacation all the time, although we had to make it up then.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever made it up on snow days.
Really?
But yeah, there's been moments we've had numerous days in a row. We never had to make them up, which I'm glad. I think the teachers don't want to make them up either. So
kids have it tough now because you can just have online school. It's we're just going to do everything virtually today. No snow day for you.
Yeah, I mean, that would suck being a kid today in today's climate where you got computers and stuff.
615-737-1045 in the FNN Bank chat where you can watch the show, interact with the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Thank you so much. Titans injury report yesterday has some non-participants, including Traylon Burks again, Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tierre Tart. Limited participants, including Azeez Al-Shire, Aaron Brewer, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins. Mike had the question before the break. When do we start to consider Traylon Burks a bust?
Oh, God, this is hard to talk about.
Why is that?
Because it just seems like, too early, but at the same time, I get it. Because he's not been available. You've seen flashes of what Traylon Burks could be and what I think he's expected to be, a first-round pick. let alone you traded away A.J. Brown to move up to get Treylon Burks. And I think it's hard for me because I've always been one of those people that feel like when injuries hit, especially at the NFL level, it is really hard to just get over it. It's almost like those players that have those injuries, I feel like they continue to plague them.
Mike says, I didn't say bust. Well, you essentially asked, when do we start to claim that Treylon Burks didn't work out? I mean, what?
Right.
You tell me, Mike, in the FNM Bank chat on YouTube, what you meant to say. I took that as, when do we consider that Treylon Burks has got some injury issues?
Yeah.
It might not be that number one guy for you, right? That you expected him to be.
Yeah. Last wide receiver that had these types of injury issues was Corey Davis.
Yeah.
I also looked at
You're
Corey's body type. Corey's 6'2", bigger wide receiver. Treylon's a bigger wide receiver. I'm not ready to start the conversation that he's out as far as Treylon goes. His situation seems to be, to me, that's just bad. Look, him falling to Minnesota. And also correlating it to his body type. He's a bigger wide receiver. He's a guy that, it's the same way you talk about offensive lineman or defensive lineman, or let's talk about Zion Williamson, right?
Yeah.
Big guys that got to figure out how to use their bodies. And Treylon's in that conversation to me. I think Treylon has a whole lot of football left in front of him. You just get plagued sometimes about one or two small item things. This isn't he's not where it has a history of this happening in college.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It didn't,
These
right?
are new things for a guy like him. His ability to play is going to be getting fully healthy. You can't do that with what happened in Minnesota and with whatever happened that day. As soon as y'all walked out of practice, I guess he ended up getting injured. It's small item stuff to me. Sometimes you got to pace this. But here's also the other conversation. This is now this conversation is coming up because of AJ. Let's go back to AJ's tenure here in Nashville also. AJ was a do not practice guy. He's always injured guy. And right now, there's a portion of this fan base that would love to have him back. Well, AJ dealt with some of the same things. And what is AJ also? A bigger wide receiver. Here's the thing. You're going to boot off everybody that has the ability to make plays for you that may have hit a rough patch in their careers because of one or two nagging injuries, or you do what Philly's doing with AJ. Figure out what works for this guy to keep him healthy and on the field. I guarantee you this. Philly's not having those issues out of A.J. right now, and I almost feel like this would be the case, too, for a guy like A.J. Brown. The Titans would have figured out what works for A.J. to continue on his pro level of play, too. This is a learning process for a guy like Treylon. The thing with Treylon is going to be this. Whenever you get there and you figure out what works for you, whether that be, look, maybe I need to be in bed by 8:30 at night. Maybe, you know what, instead, and I'm not saying that he is a drinker whatsoever.
No.
I don't think he does.
No, he's pretty.
But when it comes down
businesslike.
to like how you balance your diet, your sleep, your practice routines, these are all learned things. I'm not out on him and thinking, hey, he's the guy that always is injured.
I'm not out on him, no way. And and the Titans aren't either. Let me make that clear. They feel like this is still a guy that can be very successful in this offense. The thing is, and you brought up a good point, and he did all the right things to be prepared for this season, right? He really did. And the
Treylon,
knee,
yes.
the knee is, unfortunately, the knee got banged up. I think it maybe wasn't healed all the way, and then you were dealing with some more backlash of the knee.
Yeah.
But you brought up the coaching staff and making him. How do you make Treylon the physical wide receiver he is, the big body? How do you make him succeed in this offense? That's a big part of it. I think that's where you look to too and say, Mike Vrabel and staff, hey, how can we keep this guy productive and on the field?
Yeah. But here's the other. It's 100% injury rate.
Yeah,
That comes down to it.
there
And the
always
reason
is.
you're upset about this as a fan base or asking questions about, is Treylon Burks going to continually have this issue? It's because you're looking for more help at wide receiver. But here's the thing. There's always going to be questions about this team and the wide receiver game. As we watch Tim Kelly's offense kind of expand a little bit more with moving down the field and the weapons that you have, all you honestly are mad about is the fact that Treylon's not a part of this operation right now.
At least you can say the free agent ad for the most part is working out, and they haven't been able to say that in a long time.
I have not been able to say that in a long time, especially when it comes down to a premier wide receiver like
That has
DeAndre
miles.
Hopkins. Yep.
Mike in the FNM Big Chat clarifies his question and says, I'm done hyping him up and expecting him to be a playmaker. He is a guy. And his question was, when do we stop hyping him up?
Never.
I said over the offseason and got flack for saying I think at his best he's a number 2 receiver in this league.
I think Chig got more hype in the offseason.
I don't know.
They were hand to hand.
I'm telling you,
People were all over Traylon of he doesn't have the asthma and he's talking to media and he's engaged and he's out there making the plays and he's available. We talked so much about Traylon Burks over the offseason.
Do you remember when we did statistical guessing? We were guessing what his output and DeAndre's output. People were saying that they would both have 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I was.
People
one
were
of those
saying
people.
well over 1,000 yards for Traylon.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He's capable of doing it in the right offense and with good health. Do we deny that?
No.
I might a little bit.
You would a little bit. And that's fair.
But you said the good health. I think
With
if
good
he is
health.
healthy, the problem with Traylon, guys, is he's not been able to get any type of groove going because of the injuries. He has 3-4 games where you see the progress, and then it's like he's hurt for 4 games. You can't get anything going, I feel like, as a wide receiver, especially when you're just not on the field and you're going up and down like that.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about with this, though, because you say to yourself, he has it. He does. He's got the size. We've seen him make comeback catches. We see him be out there and be the blocker and all the things you need him to be as a pro. But again, are you ready to kick a guy out of the house with these type of injuries? These are football injuries right here.
Right, and it's not like he's had a soft tissue
Not really.
hamstring
no.
issue. It's been turf toe, concussion, and now,
Yeah.
lower body, essentially. So that knee is what it's designated as, whatever that means on the injury report. So, I mean, look, I think by the end of this season is when that clock starts, right? For a receiver like that, within an offense that doesn't prop up and put receivers on a pedestal and create ways for wide receivers to be focal points of the offense the way others do, you have a little bit more of a margin for error for me. You get a little bit more grace in this offense because it's hard to be a wide receiver in a Mike Vrabel offense.
Yep.
Since Matt LaFleur and Arthur Smith left, this is not an offense that is very kind to your stats and for you having a big impact, unless your name was A.J. Brown. He was kind of the one guy that could overcome that. Traylon by the end of year 2 is when that clock starts where you say, all right, we've got 2 years of sample size on you. We know what you are now, and the expectations are set. I said it over the offseason. I think his ceiling is a T. Higgins. He's a really good 2 in a good offense. I don't think he's a 1, and I think in this offense, if he was healthy, he'd be a really good 2 right now. With DeAndre Hopkins taking a lot of the attention, this is a perfect scenario for Traylon to succeed and to thrive when he comes back. Especially now that the offensive line is blocking a bit better, I think we should have high expectations for him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's not on us. That's on him to live up to them.
Here's my thing. One way to not be bad is to always revisit history. The history has shown that guys who get healthy in their playing careers, like AJ, Corey had a good year or so in New York. Don't do that again. There's so many people in this fan base I know want A.J. Brown back, right? As mad as we are about that, you would love to have him in this lineup. And that's all I'll say about Traylon. I'm not comparing him to each other, but it correlates with what's happened in A.J. early career to what's happening right now in Traylon.
There it is in the F&M Bank chat. Ben on YouTube writes in, trade Tannehill for Russell Wilson. It's the dumbest comment of the day on Ramon Kalen.
Proud of you.
We cannot go there, folks.
We're just going to have people
We
starting to try to make the
cannot go
worst
there.
takes possible in the chat now.
I'm here for that.
615-737-1045. Q&K is coming up next, plus what Coach Mack said about the difference in this Ravens offense as opposed to the one the Titans saw last time they saw the Ratbirds. That's next on RKW.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis. Okay, Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. The Hulks, yes, that's a true name of it, okay? Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years finance or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000, okay? Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex date just for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or a Submariner for just $299 a month, with no waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at a great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, Genesis pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex also. So you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone, 615-737-1045, the number. Mentioned it earlier, we got some short answers from a Titans starter yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and maybe a guy that's feeling a little bit of, not the pressure, but the conversation around his role in the offense. Yeah. That's one Chigakonkwo, who we will hear from coming up in just a moment. First, guys, I mentioned it, though, on the way Coach Mack talked about Todd Monken changing the Ravens offense. This was Coach Mack earlier. We asked him first about Lamar Jackson and what the Titans have been able to do to stop him in previous games. What is the biggest difference in the way Todd Monken is just calling plays as opposed to the past in Baltimore?
Well, it's involving the passing game more, the downfield passing game, and they've got skilled players. Starting with Zay Flowers and Aguilar, they've got skilled players. Mark Andrews, to me, is a tight end that's never talked about in this league, and he's one of the better ones. And then all their running backs, they have three different types of running backs, and all of these guys have some different skill sets, but they're throwing it more. He's throwing it more downfield. I broke this game down that they played against the Steelers three times just to look at all segments of the game. No way they should have lost that game. Yeah. They had smooth drops 9 times. Jeez. Smooth drops 9 times. Now, you can't count on that. And so they had people open, and he hit them, and they dropped them. So you've got to get on these people.
So that was Coach Mack on, first of all, the difference in just what this Ravens offense will look like. Then we got more into specifics on the play calling itself from Todd Monken and the way that Lamar has been used differently. What have they been able to do to keep him from just going crazy against them and having some success against Lamar Jackson?
Well, this is a different offense to begin with. This is a different offense than he's been in. Todd Monken now is the offensive coordinator. And Lamar Jackson now it's more conventional as far as throwing the football. He's throwing the football as well as he ever has. Mm-hmm. He's throwing it down the field. He's reading things out. He never really did that before because, a lot of times they were in 13 personnel, which is 3 tights, and they were doing a lot of – now, they still got the intentional run game with the gap schemes and pulling people in front of him, so you're still going to have to +1 the run game, which is huge. And then you can't let him escape between the numbers because if he escapes between the numbers, then it takes a while. He's fast. He's very fast. He may be faster than everybody on the field when they start chasing him. And you don't have enough numbers to collapse on him if he escapes up the middle of the field. You need to push him sideways so you can use the boundary. But to be able to do that and to play +1, which you have to do on option offense, which is what the RPO is with a running quarterback, and you bring somebody out of the sky to be the next person on the quarterback, then you've got to be exactly sound on your gap defense up front. And that's what they did not do against Indianapolis. And so the gap front up has to be sound up front because you're taking another player out for the quarterback.
2 things, guys, that the Titans struggled with last weekend. Penalties in the downfield passing game and stopping the run up the middle. Both things that are going to be tested in a massive way against a Ravens offense, guys, that is throwing the football down the field much more than they were under Greg Roman.
I just looked this week, the updated QBR rating. I believe Lamar was like 2nd under Jared Goff from this past week.
Yeah. Lamar this is what happens when you play a quarterback most times. They want to evolve, and that's the thing that Coach Monken is doing as far as Lamar is concerned, is trying to figure out, what is that balance between having him run and utilize his legs, because that is a huge part of his game. And defenses are petrified of it. They just are. You say what you want to about him being able to move coast to coast and up and down the field is a huge weapon for anybody that's going to coach Lamar. But the incorporation of the passes that Lamar is throwing right now, I think you're seeing schematic open throws that are very good, easy for Lamar to make, which is why I'm sure he's so frustrated with what his wide receivers did last week specifically, that it's set up for them to be good. That defense will support that Ravens offense as good as any defense in the NFL. It's a matter of them connecting on plays and Lamar being safe and healthy with his run. This will be a big challenge for this team, and especially if you're going to be, I'm not sure the status of Tierre moving forward this weekend. Hopefully he should play. But that's going to play a huge part because one thing about Baltimore is this, too. We speak about Lamar running the ball and his efficiency, but those running backs are going to always be a problem because, again, they won't get tired in how they rotate guys in and out.
That's what I was going to ask because it's running back by committee like you had mentioned yesterday. Is that harder to prepare for because you don't know exactly at what point you're going to get, or at that they're going to probably have fresh legs just because they rotate so much?
It's not well, it's only hard if both of them have good ability to be productive in the run game. That's where it becomes problematic for a team. Gus Edwards and also Justice Hill.
Yeah.
And also this, too. They are playing with a dynamic style, with a very eccentric fullback. That's the uniqueness of that offense, too. If they need a yard, more times than not, they're going to get a yard. The reason I think it was the Chargers that called the timeout when Big Jeff ran in at the home games because
On offense.
offense. He's a body mover.
Yeah.
If you attempt to block with Big Jeff, that's all you're looking for is to move people around, and that's what Ricard does for them.
He was the highest graded quarterback after this week under Jared Goff. That was according to PFF.
And he had the highest graded passing game of any quarterback this year last week. I
That
probably
is nuts.
said that stat.
He had that, and the receivers dropped 9 balls?
Yeah. So the drops aren't accounted to
Okay.
it.
Right.
PFF goes off the throws.
The
Like, did he make
okay.
the correct throw at the right time to the
Gotcha.
right guy?
Okay.
Yeah, the time to throw for Lamar Jackson is 100th of a second off of Ryan Tannehill. So certainly around the average, you would say, in the NFL. Middle of the road in terms of how quickly he gets the ball out of his hand, according to Next Gen Stats. His average completed air yards of just how far he is completing passes on average is actually around the middle of the NFL as well, 6 yards. Brock Purdy leading the NFL at 7.1 in average completed air yards. So certainly not an offense that is only going to be downfield passing, but I just worry about the penalties. Because in losses away from Nissan Stadium, the Titans are fouling people left and right down the field. Did it against Cleveland to extend drives. Christian Fulton did it against Indianapolis. You don't think they're going to have Zay Flowers running a double move the first opportunity they can?
Better believe it.
And Odell Beckham? You think he doesn't understand what Christian Fulton wants to do and step it up in man coverage? I think that's going to be the interesting thing now. How quickly do the Titans change the formula on defense a little bit?
Yep.
And change the personnel in this one. Last time we had a discussion like that, it was on Andre Dillard, and he came back and bounced back pretty well. Christian Fulton needs to have that same performance because with the downfield passing game and the way Baltimore tries to change the eyes of the defensive backfield, that's a big concern for me going into this game. Big concern. Another concern is Chig Okonkwo right now. Talked about him the other day. Mike Vrabel had an interesting answer and just called him flat out inconsistent. Chig Okonkwo, not as talkative perhaps in the locker room yesterday as he usually is. This was our first Q&K of the afternoon yesterday of this morning. Kayla's catching up with Chig.
Nothing more than we're doing, every game. So we're just doing the same. It's not like we're looking at this game like, oh my God, this one's way more important than other ones. It's all the same.
Have you heard tips and tricks in terms of going overseas, having your body ready for that time change?
Yeah, just go to sleep a little earlier each night during the week.
So for the red zone, for you guys specifically offensively, what have you seen that you guys need to improve upon to maybe be more consistent down there?
Just finish our drives. We do a good job getting down there, and then it's just maybe one detail on the play that might have messed it up that we weren't able to finish the drive on. So just when we get down there, just maybe make sure that we execute.
And he had partly some stuff to do with that last week.
Yeah.
With the penalty.
Yeah.
So
quieter than usual is the way
Very
you described
quiet.
this earlier, Kayla.
And it was only myself and Lauren from Channel 4. We were the only people who talked to him yesterday because he really just didn't want to talk to
football or
yeah,
in
just
general.
didn't want. Yeah,
Okay.
he was kind of just like, and he was nice enough to talk to us, obviously, but very, very short. You can tell I'm not a psychologist, guys, but I've been in many locker rooms, and I've been in this locker room for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And you can tell when there's a little bit something off, and I just feel like he's in his head a little.
Yeah.
So to me, this isn't, maybe I'm being too optimistic. to me, it's just a sign that he knows he's got to play better.
Absolutely.
And I just want to open this up to both of you. Like, a guy like that being quieter and being less inclined to talk to the media could be a good sign that he's just a bit more focused and doesn't want to worry about anything else, Ramon. I mean, it is.
And I'm kind of
am I
putting
reading
this on
too
the
much
whole
into that?
I'm putting this on the whole season as a whole. I just think there's some stuff going on where there were expectations and he hasn't necessarily lived up to them. This is the most frustrated I've seen him, but I think I've seen a little change in him this year in general.
In general,
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it. You're viewed, again, I say this often, man. It's a public service job, what football is, specifically in the NFL and heck in college too. You start off the season very optimistic as fan and especially as players too. This is my year. And Chig, I'm sure, have heard everybody champion him. He was on the big networks, right? All throughout the summer, guys waiting to make a big splash, big jump. Year 2 guys, young tight ends in this game who's emerging. Tight end, all of those conversations. And then reality hit. Whether that's the case of the drops, penalties, or just lacking play. And right now, Chig has kind of had all those things. You have a bit of humble pie. As a player, you do get a little bit more quiet. You do get a little bit more defensive, Caleb, which is why he's having short conversations with you all. Reporters know that. People that cover the sport know that too. And some of them do more digging to try to get a guy to, react a little bit. Chig doesn't seem like he's got much to it. But what you do is this. You hope in the game that you get, if he's got 5 targets, 4 catches.
Yep.
That needs to be his stat line coming out of it. And here's the most selfish thing about that, or the I guess the realest thing about it. Even in a loss, players who've been struggling, if they have a good game, that's all they need. That, like, the loss would matter to them as a teammate. But to have an individual successful game is all you're looking for. And there's no other way to do that other than just by playing. But he absolutely got to get out of his head, too.
Yeah.
And I get the idea that you want to go in a hole and, kind of be separated from what people got going on and everything. But it does become bothersome. It's stressful as heck. Because your job.
Yeah.
It's on. And especially we start talking about Josh Wiley now.
Mm-hmm. And it's already stressful enough when you're like frustrated with yourself. Because look, Chig's a competitor, and we saw that all last year in his rookie season. He hasn't changed. He's still that competitor. That's frustrating though when there's been mistakes and you're maybe not living up to not only their expectations but your own expectations. And yeah, I don't blame him. You're gonna get frustrated, and then you have me walking up and being like, "Hey, you want to talk about it?" It is part of their job. And it's part of our jobs as well. But I'm not going to say he can't be frustrated. Yeah, he is frustrated and he can be.
Well, to me, it's also more the way he's talking about things versus what he's even saying. Because Chig has got a pretty outgoing personality. Yep. And for that guy to maybe go into his shell a little bit, to me, is telling that he understands he's not lived up to expectations. And his head coach is calling him inconsistent in the media. Yeah. I would rather have that, though, than, and you know where I'm going to go with this, than Christian Fulton blaming it on the refs post-game in Indy. I would. Yeah. Be real about it. If you're frustrated, be frustrated. That's fine. That's the thing, is that I think we have to be okay with players being, and I'm not saying any of you aren't, but like, I'm okay with a player being frustrated and being quiet and giving, shorter answers. That's fine. I'd rather have that than excuses. And again, ultimately, what a guy says in the locker room is secondary, tertiary to a lot of things that happen on the field, right? Like, the story is the play. This is, I think, giving us an indicator of what the play might look like moving forward. I think we are closer to the Chig breakout game. This, to me, says that there is knowledge of him not living up to expectations in that building.
You said there's not inside the building?
I think in the building, they know that, like, hey, Chig, bud, in the film room, hey, man, you're getting compared to Delaney Walker in the offseason? Delaney Walker had 1,000-yard seasons. Mm-hmm. You're on pace for, like, 300. Well, what are we? Catch the football when it's thrown to you.
I think the Wiley kind of moving upwards a little could actually help. I think unless he's a different type of competitor. But I know Delaney and Jonnu, let me tell you something, those two battled. They loved each other and respected each other, but Jonnu wanted to be Delaney.
Well, let me ask you this, though, for both of you. Is Josh Wiley the same kind of tight end as Chig?
No.
Because to me, I think Jonnu and Delaney were competing in the same role.
Yeah.
Josh Wiley is a compliment to Chika Okonkwo if those two are both right.
Right.
Again, like you said, the news has to be in the building. He has to feel it too. It's like you say, it's very personal. He's on social media and he sees and hears everything too. And just looking at the overall number, everybody has a portion in their head, a moment in their head where they're like, okay, I need to be here by this game. And he's not doing that. And not just that. It's one thing to have bad play, like a case of the drops. So the ball might be right outside of your range and you should have been there half a second quicker. But to actually be taken away from the offense, too, with the penalties, that's probably where it became real dark for him inside the building, too. Like, you can control these things.
Yeah, two OPIs.
You know what I'm saying? These are things that we talked about in practice. And he's had, I think, a hold call this year also. And this has been sprinkling of his game. And I'm telling you guys, like, being in those meetings, especially with a guy like Vrabel who's a gamer, right? And I hadn't been in meetings with him, but I think we see a lot of his reactions in those press conferences where his team meeting has to suck if you've had a bad play or a stretch of bad plays.
Good.
Yep.
There needed to be some bad team meetings after losing to the Colts the way they did.
My daddy used to say, those who don't listen must feel. Sometimes you got to feel.
The belt.
Like my granddaddy
The
right
belt.
I just
That's
got
what I
chills.
felt.
No matter, depends what's around. He used to have a paddle he drilled holes in. It was just a deterrent. I never got hit with it. I was too quick.
Oh,
But
Lucky you.
He called it
Jackrabbit.
Mr. No-No. Anytime you do a no-no, Mr. No-No will come out.
Okay.
Those who don't listen must feel.
That sounds like something a
Dude,
Bond villain would
That's
say.
a real thing.
Those who don't listen must feel, Mr. Bond.
Okay, Silence of the Lamb.
You got the belt, didn't you?
Shaken, not stirred.
Right, I got the belt. Yeah, I got
I
everything.
did too.
Can't relate. 615-737-1045.
you.
I'm sure you're shocked. Coming up, Kevin Byard on what he's been able to do. Looking back to a previous season to stay positive for the defense. And Jeffrey Simmons on going up against Lamar once again, a player that he knows quite well through his time as a Tennessee Titan. More Q&Ks coming up next. Hey, it's Will Boulding here from my friends at Lee Company. Look, you deserve all the comforts of home, including endless hot water at your fingertips. And you already know this time of year when it starts to get a little bit cooler early in the morning, late at night, you turn on that faucet and cold water, right? One of the worst feelings you can have, especially when it's colder outside. Well, let me tell you, Lee Company has got you covered on this one. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation systems save energy, money, time, and space, all good things that you love to save in your home. And Lee Company, they're going to save you money. They've got a limited time offer of $750 off a tankless water heater when you purchase a recirculation system. To make the heater even sweeter, qualified buyers, you're going to get 18 months of 0% financing. This is a great offer for my friends at Lee Company. You got to give them a call, 615-567-1000, or go to leecompany.com/promotions. Take a look at all the great offers there and get $750 off a tankless water heater. That's 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast. Right here at 104.5 The Zone. This song makes me so happy.
It does. It has that feeling. I know none of the words.
Do you not? Everybody wants to rule the world. Tears for Fears.
Do you guys ever have that song that maybe you heard it a lot for whatever reason? This used to be the outro song of the first ever radio show I produced. So now every time I hear this, I think about Rayford Brown and how much I despise him and hope that he's sleeping well somewhere.
Oh, okay, cool.
That.
At least you wished him a good
well
sleep.
somewhere.
That's solid right there.
This band,
Well wishes.
British, Tears for Fears.
There you
Song
go.
released in 1985 off the studio album Songs from the Big Chair. Tears for Fears, who allegedly were Arsenal fans. And they play that song in London after games. So I'm giving Robert some London songs. The Emirates Stadium, where we will be in attendance on Saturday, plays that after games. So anyway.
Yeah, I like that song.
Little taste of London. More sound yesterday. Kevin Byard spoke with the media. KB always good to talk to. Mentioned looking back to 2019 as a source of confidence and the 2-4 start they had that season going into London this weekend.
It always sucks when you lose. You know, got to come in the building on Monday and watch the film and get coached really tough. So that's always hard. But you know, still 2-3. I hate to bring it to pass, but we were 2-4 before we went to the AFC Championship game. So that's just a reminder that it's not over. You know, we still have ways to go. We still have a lot to improve on, but we're also doing some good things as well. We just have to continue to try to get better, stick together as a team, not make excuses. Let's continue to come together and not, you know, spread out and get in small groups and start complaining about stuff.
You've seen Lamar Jackson plenty of times before. What's involved in his game?
I think just him as a passer. I think he has one of the top completion ratings in the league, like 70-something. He's very elite because, like I said, I remember in his early days, it was like, okay, let's pack the paint, make him throw the ball outside the numbers and stuff like that. Now he's doing that at a high level. So, obviously, that gives us a lot more to be able to, you know, cover against him and more to worry about. So, like I said, I think he's one of the more dynamic passers in the league right now.
They're great in the red zone just in terms of protecting that down there.
Yeah.
Holding him to 3.
Yeah, I mean, when it gets in the red zone, it's Lamar Jackson show. He's going to run the ball. They're going to try to get the ball in his hands to make plays, whether it's zone read, RPO, and things like that. So we'll cover more in the red zone tomorrow. But just from the film that I've watched, when he gets down to the red zone, we have to be alert for him running the ball.
So there's Kevin Byard yesterday. Jeffrey Simmons also talking about getting the hand up and tipping footballs at the line of scrimmage, which became an interesting topic of conversation when talking about stopping Lamar Jackson yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
He's a tremendous player. You know, I've always been a fan of him just by his elusiveness with the ball. Like I said, this year, just by watching tape, you know, he still have his runs here and there, but, you know, I could tell that he wanted to prove that he could throw the ball. He's been throwing the ball a lot this year, I would say. I don't know. I saw some stat where I think his completion rate up there, second. Yeah, so that just shows where, you know, that's a big jump, you know, from the last couple of years. So, like I said, he wanted to be able to throw the ball. So, like I said, we just have to be able to affect him up front. You know, like I said, if it's batted balls or whatever it may be. So.
And that's what Braves was saying today. Like, you need to get more tip balls. I mean, whatever you can do, because he can move out of the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like things like that, they'll come.
Yeah.
I don't. At the end of the day, we rushing so. I feel like we've been rushing good as a unit. At the end of the day, I mean, guys not just thinking about it, you know, getting your hands up right now. But that's something we have to put in our mind when we can't get there.
Yeah.
You know, quarterback take his non-throwing hand off the ball, get our hands up. So, you know, I don't kind of just keep dwelling on batted ball,
right.
because we want it. I mean, because sacks is better than, you know, sometimes batted ball. So, no, I think at the end of the day, we have to be able to, you know, change the game, even with them batted balls when we can't get there. But at the end of the day, we just can't go in the game and say, oh, batted ball. We have to be able to affect the game as much as we can, sacks, batted balls, or whatever it may be. So.
How frustrated do you guys get as a line because of how much pride you take when there's a game like that in terms of allowed rushing yards?
Like I said, it's one of them games where, like I said, it wasn't nothing they did. When we went back and watched the tape, it was a lot of us, Titans versus Titans. Like, we literally, like, knock a guy back, then you shed off too early. That running back just being so patient and waiting on that. And I remember just playing against the Eagles, like, and watching tape against the Eagles, same offense coordinator from last year. That's why they had so much success. Them guys get out their gaps, and same thing happened.
I guess that shut off. Sorry, guys.
There you go.
He was on a roll with me.
He was.
Yeah,
He was telling me everything I needed to know.
It is interesting looking at the Pro Football Focus grades, which, again, are not gospel when it comes to grading players, but an interesting secondary source, guys. Jeffrey Simmons has an 81 pass rush grade. That's 13th among interior defensive linemen in the NFL. His run defense grade is 43.4 this year.
Oh, wow.
That is 108th out of 128 defensive linemen.
Interesting.
Can you be more focused than you should be on the pass rush? And is that maybe hurting the Titans' defensive front right now? They're so focused on getting to the quarterback that getting out of their lanes in the run game.
Jeff's also getting double teamed a little bit more in the run game. Also, just want to throw that. That's always going to be the context of that one. And in the pass game, too, you can also set a guy up to be successful by running games and stunts up front, too. So that's where his higher grade may come into play.
The question, I'll simplify it.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it a linebacker or a defensive line issue or both? Some of the run defense issues they had last week.
Both.
Okay.
Yes.
That
both.
was the thing I was curious about.
Both will.
Yeah. Okay. Coming up in hour 4, a reset of the injury headlines. I will take a look at the Ravens injury report as well, get our expert Robert Walsh's perspective on who may or may not be available for the Baltimore Ravens. I caught myself. I didn't say Ratbirds that time.
I appreciate that.
I did.
I didn't say anything about Jeffrey Simmons spitting in anybody's face.
Okay. Yep. Okay. We'll do that coming up next in Thursday 3 at 9:20 coming up.
It's Ramon and Will for Kellum Stem Cell Institute. Will, man, we got this long flight over this pond, man, water, ocean, whatever you want to call it, man. Make it a little stiff on the plane as far as just aches and pains. I know I will. And that's where the stem cell recovery is actually one of the small things that it can help you with, Will.
Yeah, that's right, Ramon. And you get in a routine of working out. You live an active lifestyle. And a lot of that routine sometimes includes not doing certain exercises, not doing certain things in your life because you've got nagging pain. Maybe it's one joint. Maybe it's a shoulder, a knee. For me, Achilles. In my running career at the SEC that bothers you. Well, those things are still under your control. You don't have to always live with that pain. You can go to the Kellum Stem Cell Institute. They have got next-level technology. This stuff is legit. It is great. Dr. Kellum's going to take care of you with your own body cells healing your body. KellumStemCellInstitute.com. Remember that website. Mention us, The Zone, when you go there. That's KELLUM StemCellInstitute.com.
What's going on, you bunch of hooligans? It's 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. First Titans injury report of the week came out yesterday. 5 players not practicing for the Titans. Traylon Burks, Luke Gifford, Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tier Tart. Aziz Al-Shire and Aaron Brewer were both limited with a neck injury, while Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins did not practice but was designated as rest. For the Ravens, Jadeveon Clowney, Odafe Awe, and Geno Stone missed practice. Clowney's absence was said to be due to an illness. He should be good to go for Sunday. Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick McCary, and Morgan Moses were all limited. Thursday Night Football tonight, Chiefs-Broncos, 7:15 on Amazon Prime or right here on 104.5 The Zone. Chiefs have already ruled out Frank Clark with an illness, but Travis Kelce practiced this week. He is questionable. Broncos also getting a little help back at a running back with Javonte Williams, who is practicing with no injury designation. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Would you look at the time? It's the final hour of RKW in the States. This entire week, right here, brewed up by 8th and Roast. As always, we've got our 8th and Roast coffee going, a little dash of cream. I'm on cup number 2. Everyone else? How many cups today?
One today.
Only one today?
Trying to taper
Kayla?
myself today.
2.
2 cups today. Robert Walsh.
I think that I am currently on my third.
Our third coffee. I'm going to go to my third here in just a moment. We are enjoying it. We've got 8th and Roast for all the people up here on the top floor of Cumulus Nashville. Rave reviews, by the way. We have become much more popular with our coworkers. I'm serious. We have become much more popular with our coworkers because 8th and Roast is now the official coffee of 104.5 The Zone.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
I don't like it. No, because now they got something from us. Now y'all want to like us because you get something from us. Where was all this camaraderie before? I used to say morning to people. They wouldn't even look at me.
Even. You show up to remotes, they get food trucks and stuff, and now they want to benefit off of us.
Now
Right?
they're holding doors open for us and stuff. I don't need you to hold the door.
Oh, what's your name? Never talked to you before. Oh, it's because we got new coffee in the building. Huh. Couldn't be my coworkers. They're taking advantage of us like this.
That's Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. We are headed across the pond this afternoon. You'll be able to hear us from London tomorrow morning. Noon to 4 British time.
Noon to 4 British
and
time.
We've had a lot of people reach out and say they will see us there. So looking forward to that. If you're listening to us across the pond, good afternoon, and we're excited to see you. A lot of Titans fans over there. So
Yeah.
Big time.
Also, I was explaining this to someone yesterday, too. The amount of people who are stationed out that direction, anywhere in Europe, who have NFL fandoms, like they all come to London for the game, too. Because obviously you can get so many places in like a 2-hour train ride over there. Crazy to me. But it's my first time out of the country in the next 24 hours.
Wow. First time. So you haven't been to Canada or Mexico?
I've been to Canada for 30 minutes, technically illegally. I walked across the bridge over Niagara Falls thinking that maybe they'd let me in with an ID, and they did not. So then I had to walk back across the bridge, and the U.S. border people were very confused. Very confused.
Lost,
they were
or
like,
what?
how did you get by us? Which you don't have to, like, check out. You just, like, go, and you check in with the other country on the other side.
Yeah.
And so they were like, because from all they knew, like, I was in Canada for, like, months, and then I just came back and didn't have any ID. So we had to, like, fill out a form and, like, this whole thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
That maybe that's not the question they should have been asking you either. You know, how did you get past us? Now I'm worried about national security.
I was also 14. So
yeah,
some would say I'm still 14.
Did they think you were lost?
No, they were just like, you got to fill out like a separate form or whatever. So.
Oh, okay.
But no, first time I've been out of the country. I got my passport like a few months ago.
Which was a headache at the time. Goodness.
I know. Well, because the track league I work for and broadcast for, the American Track League, had a meet in the Bahamas over the summer that they asked me to broadcast. So I tried to rush order a passport to get here so I could do the broadcast, and it made it the Monday after the broadcast, which was on Saturday. Which was really sad.
Exactly.
So,
really, really sad.
I guess they're definitely prepared for us. Robbie Bourne sent a picture here.
Yeah.
Nice.
They know how to do it right. That's one thing. They will receive you well whenever you go overseas.
Well,
It's a
the whole
good time.
pub is decked out in Titan stuff, the Admiralty. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have some tea in the Admiralty.
And it's nice and rainy. It kind of looks like that London type weather that I'm actually excited for, because when I think of London, that's what I kind of think of. It's like the fog, the London rain.
Yeah, you don't want to be in London and it be like 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
No.
Why is
That's
that?
that's not the full experience.
Oh, that's not the full experience. Okay,
It's like
that's
going to New York City and it's 90 degrees. Like, you want to be up there in the snow in New York City.
That's very true.
Like, you want to be in London when it's 50 and rainy.
And that's what we're going to have.
Which
too.
is my favorite weather, by the way, 50 and rainy.
That's exactly what we're going to have over there. And I'm excited for it. I actually enjoyed that type of weather. But you can't have it too much. That's one thing I learned about Western PA, and that's one thing I've always heard about Seattle, too, is you do need those moments of sun, too. The vitamin D.
In the summer, you get that in Seattle.
You do?
Just not the winter.
Just not the winter.
Summer is like the best place you could be, right? Wintertime,
not
good
so
luck.
much. Yeah.
615-737-1045. You can join the discussion as well in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch, where Zach has sent his picture of his 8th and Roast coffee this morning.
Let's go.
Appreciate it, Zach. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, that was good, man. And yes, you can get those at your local store, too. Kroger.
Kroger and Whole Foods
Yes.
here in Middle Tennessee.
They are everywhere.
They are everywhere now. That's good, man.
That
Especially
sky
when
blue bag.
It's local like this, too. Nashville's doing this thing, man. I enjoy and love hyping up local, man. No better way to have it here.
Absolutely.
And the local guys will hopefully go across the seas and get a dub, man. I'm be honest with you. This back and forth with the win-loss is
This would be win.
yeah, I know.
We like it this week.
This team got to find a way to get a streak. That is my biggest thing. And that's why, honestly, the conversation with Chig is also fascinating, too. Kayla, we had it in the last hour on your Q's and K's, because you look at him and his play, he probably feels like a result of the losing. And truthfully, you have to contribute it to that being the case, too.
Sure.
And there's no consistency. If a guy's playing bad and you're winning, okay, we live to fight another day. You're going to get yours eventually. But if you're playing bad and you're and there's no consistency in your wins and losses, that makes you question a whole lot of stuff. That also puts you behind the 8 ball as far as trying to demand more production out of your coach. Hey, coach, I need the ball. We've been giving you the ball, and look at the results. There's so many different mind games and the psychological side of what sports provide to guys that make you go dark. And that's why you hear a lot of people, man, speak about, the sports depression and, those dark moments that you have. That's because everything that you've ever done in your life, you've had full control over. And now you don't whenever your team is losing, and you're part of that losing is your bad play.
It's interesting next week when we have the opportunity in the bye week to kind of take stock of preseason conversations. It's something I want to do next week when we spoke in the offseason about the topics like earliest possible time you could see a quarterback change, earliest possible time of this or that. And the answer was always after you go to London, right?
Sure.
In the bye week, you have a natural moment to transition new players in, new schemes in, make changes within the depth chart and within the arrangement of the way you attack each week. And who knows, maybe you start to see Will Levis become more active or become available after the bye week. We're going to be able to go back to the preseason conversations we had and see where we were right or wrong and where the fan base was maybe right or wrong. I'll tell you one thing. The thing we were most right about, I believe, is DeAndre Hopkins still being DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think the expectations we had was 800 to 900 yards for him minimum, on pace.
And he's on pace for that.
At the very least.
Yep, you do. And here's the other portion of it, too, that I am just saying, this is why we didn't need to have that stronger conversation was between Levis and Malik. It's Tannehill's team. Right. And I think we all kind of knew that. And the hope and wishing that you thinking that either Will Levis or Malik Willis was going to do better than Tannehill, I don't know if that was going to be the case this year. Because other than the one game, of course, and, I mean, some people was ready to burn the whole entire building down when Tannehill threw the 3 picks, right? But other than that, Tannehill's been above board as far as being a winnable quarterback in this system.
And I think because of Rhett Bryan, we were all kind of given a little bit of a heads up on Tajay Spears. Now, I don't know if we knew how much he would be on the field this season from the start, but I do know that thanks to him and some of the stuff we saw at the Senior Bowl, which is awesome that we got to be prepared for somebody like that, he has been really a guy that is not disappointed and maybe overachieved a little up to this point. I don't know if overachieved, but I don't know if I was expecting to see him out there this much early on in the season.
Yep. I expected this level of efficiency. I didn't expect this level of volume right away. I think Tajay Spears is being used the amount I expected him to be used by the end of the season already. I mean, having 5 less snaps than Derek in consistent weeks, week in and week out, is not something that I expected in the first 4 weeks of the season.
No.
I expected that maybe in week 15 to 18, but
I expected him to run Derek into the ground because you had no contract after this season.
Of course.
Yeah, that's fair.
So interesting discussions that we'll get back to next week in full when we don't have a game to preview and can kind of take stock of where this team is at this point. Ravens injury report yesterday. Jadeveon Clowney with an illness did not practice. Sodafe Owe, ankle injury, did not practice. Geno Stone, a safety with a hamstring, did not practice. In fact, he has 2 of them. His 2 hamstrings.
So they are already practicing today, and Jeff Zerbiak has reported that he sees everyone on the practice field aside from Odafe Awe.
Okay.
So Clowney and Stone are back for the Ravens.
Limited yesterday, Odell Beckham, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Bakari, Morgan Moses, Keelan Mitchell, a full participant. Interesting when you talk about the different ideas and different philosophies for going there early or going there later. I think maybe the Titans could argue they had a more normal and better week of practice leading up to this game because they did it in their home confines.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you're making the argument either way. You either want practice the whole week to be better or you want the 24 hours leading up to the game to feel better for you. Which one's more important, right? Do you want to get a better week of work in as you lead up to the game, or do you want to feel better in the 36 hours leading up to it?
Give me 36 hours leading up to it, almost 24. If I can reset myself within the 24 hours before the game, I'm good to go.
So you think the Titans should have gone earlier?
No, I actually think they're fine.
He thinks they're fine. And that's why I think it's okay to do it team-by-team basis.
Yeah.
Whatever your coach feels like worked before or didn't work before, it's every right for them to decide if they want to continue or change that. That's why I don't fault either Harbaugh or Vrabel for the decisions made. And you can see what happens on Sunday, and maybe we'll change our minds, right?
No doubt about it.
Well, I think you need about 5 years of evidence and data in order to really say if there's a trend.
Yeah.
Like that's statistics to me, right?
Jags went 2-0 over there.
Yeah.
This year.
They did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
No,
they beat the Falcons and the Bills.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
That's the thing, too. Like, you need to, in order to have enough data to make a claim about a trend on that, you need about 5 years of data to say these teams went early, these teams went late, who won, who lost. I don't think one game, there's too many variables.
And for what it's worth, the Ravens' practice quality has not been grand. It's been rainy and misty. A lot of reports of players slipping all over the practice field. So the practice that they're getting might be subpar to what the Titans are getting at their own facility.
Yeah, Ravens at Tottenham and Titans at Watford practicing. Titans in the northwest of London and Baltimore in the north of London. So
Nice.
Thursday 3 coming up next. Our picks against the spread for the college football and NFL weekends. I'm going all college picks.
Woo! Look at you.
This upcoming weekend. Robert leading the way at 11-7. Kayla at 10-8. I'm 9-9. Ramon with room for improvement. We'll pick our
Hey.
our football picks for you to make some money or fade us in order to make some money. Whichever you decide. Coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Scoreboard Bar and Grill. Scoreboard Opryland all-you-can-eat Low Country Bowl has been extended through October, y'all, where you can get crab, shrimp, booze, music, and football. If it's a Thursday, which is today, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday night, both scoreboards will have all the games, food, and music you want. Now, you can hit up 2 locations. The one I told you about earlier, across from the Grand Ole Opry and on Old Hickory Lake. Both running the area's only all-you-can-eat Low Country Bowls from noon till 5, so you can get out and enjoy the best weather and time of the year at either Scoreboard. Scoreboard is the only place that has something for everyone. So come see why Scoreboard Opryland was just voted the #1 sports bar in Nashville. Of course, they have the Low Country Bowls, football, bushwhackers, and home to Nashville, yacht, rock, and spasmatics. Be sure to join 3HL this Friday from 3 to 6 as they broadcast live from the original Scoreboard Opryland location. And listen up, they'll have great giveaways, including a pair of tickets to the UConn versus UT, and all you can drink. All drinks are 2 for $1 from 3 to 6 also while you kick it with 3HL. And if you want your hand at beating Brent and Slay's pick, go between 3 to 6 to fill out the sheet, and maybe you'll win the $250 prize pack. Remember, if it's football time, it's Scoreboard time.
Time to make you some money on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. We make you more engaged and caffeinated when you go by Kroger or Whole Foods to get a bag of 8th and Roast coffee grounds. I promise you'll love them. Got the Concepcion Buena Vista blend that we're still sipping on here. It is fabulous. You can go by and see them on 8th Avenue, Charlotte, or in the airport where we will be today. Come say hi to us if you see us at the 8th and Roast in the airport.
Yes.
Getting
Stocking
myself a everything bagel, toasted, a little bit of butter on there.
There you go.
Coffee.
We still got 30 minutes, dude. I am so hungry.
I
You
am too.
cannot be doing that.
I was thinking of a food order, but now I think I'm just going to wait.
Yeah, I thought you were going to order something earlier.
I thought about it.
Now we might be running out of time.
Yeah.
I
We
know.
get on that plane starving, man. You've been cranking to the the flight attendants and stuff, both of you guys. Don't be on the no flight list.
They got those good cookies, though.
Those
biscotti cookies.
Biscottis.
Have y'all tried the ice cream that they have?
No.
Wait.
Yeah, there's
Sorry.
an
Was
ice cream.
unfamiliar
Where
with-
are you flying? And what
well,
line?
No, I don't. That's a lifestyle thing. That's a local store thing. I don't have that at the house.
Oh, they've got
or
an
on the
ice
plane.
cream at the airport.
Yeah, no. In general, they make it. I just wondered if the ice cream tastes like the cookies, or is it a waste of time? Yeah.
Okay,
That's
well.
all.
I haven't had the ice cream.
We'll try it out.
I hadn't. Yeah, it's out there somewhere. I hadn't had
I
it.
thought you got
be,
ice cream on a plane. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Something else you might want to try out. Winning some bets this week.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, smart guy.
We've got the professional on the show.
Robert. The bad transition is my bit, man. What I have no job security if I can't make really smooth used car salesman transitions from one topic to another.
I'll leave it to you.
Bert's living life like the more you can do, baby. Tell him, Bert.
The more you know.
Having a nice time. So last week, to recap, Robert went 1-2, hit on Louisville plus 6.5 against Notre Dame, missed on Titans minus 1.5 at Colts, missed on Ravens minus 4
that's
at
fine.
Steelers.
We can go to the next one. Don't have to talk about what
Kayla was 1-2 as well, hit on Dolphins minus 10.5 versus the Giants, missed on Bills minus 5.5 and Colorado minus 4.5 at Arizona State.
That one was so close.
Was close.
Ugh.
Ramon went 0-3. He is 6-12.
Him over there.
Texas,
We'll be
A&M,
back.
Kentucky all to cover. You were really close on Texas, and you were very close on A&M.
We didn't have
be
to
back.
review this.
We did.
though.
And then I was 2-1.
Look at that.
Wins on the over on LSU, Missouri, and on 49ers minus 3.5 against the Cowboys. I was taking candy for a baby.
That was like, yeah.
Both of them were.
Holy smokes.
And then Ole Miss minus 11.5. I'll never bet on Lane Kiffin again.
Nope.
those poor candyless babies.
I know.
Mm.
So,
You had the best week. You want to start, or you want me to
sure,
start?
I'll
I
start.
thought you was talking to me right there.
We could go
Bounce
worst
back
to
week for
first.
you.
Just go. Don't do that.
Okay. I mean, I'm in third. I'm not much better.
No, you're
I have
not.
a 3-game lead on you. But
Hey, all the games he won, he bet double on. So he's really 500.
Exactly.
There you
Somebody had to go over on something.
well, that means you're
okay?
down about 10%, though.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Huh.
If you go 500, then you're down about 10%.
He was betting double plus 10%.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a smart guy.
I'm just glad I did not bet on my prediction of the Texas-Oklahoma game, which was Texas wins by a late field goal, which I said on the show. So close. During that last drive, I was busy clipping that footage that I could then tweet out after the game, and then Oklahoma scored a touchdown.
A menace.
I did have Oklahoma
To
covering
society.
though, so I was on that. I did make I was undefeated in the early window. My problem is I need to start betting on the Thursday 3 with things I like with all of my bets. Because then, like, the ones I'm most confident in are the ones I put in the Thursday 3, and then those are the ones that don't end up hitting. So I'll go like 8-4 on a football weekend, but I'm like 1-2 on the 3 that I picked
Right.
for this show. Anyway, I don't bet that much, but just for sake of conversation, I will start then. I guess my first pick, guys. Travis Hunter is back, and Colorado covering will be too. 11.5 over Stanford is a small number for how bad Stanford is at football. Give me Dion, Travis Hunter, and the Colorado Buffaloes, minus 11.5 over the Cardinal. Deion Sanders saying that Travis Hunter has a tremendous chance of playing.
Perfect.
So unless he is fooling all of us, which very well could be the case, because this is not a difficult game for Colorado, even without Travis Hunter, I will still believe that he is playing and take Colorado minus 11.5.
Yeah. Stanford's bad.
Kayla, you go second.
Yes. I am actually going to go to the NFL.
Okay.
I've got 2 in the NFL this week. Miami made me some money last
Right
weekend.
now.
And I feel like Miami can make me some more money this weekend and use some money because they are hosting the worst team in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers have not won a game. Wow. I understand. Who did that?
That was Mon.
No,
It was. He's out there making animal
God, that
noises.
was so funny.
Not that time.
I understand that. Is it now A-Chan?
A-Chain.
Yeah, it's Devin A-Chan.
It's A-Chain.
It's now
Oh,
Devin.
wow.
It's not A-Chain anymore.
I realize he is out, but there are too many weapons on this team. It is at home. I just don't think Carolina's just going to figure it out this week. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Miami at the minus 13.5.
Ooh, that's a big number in the NFL.
Telling you.
Big number in the NFL. I don't blame you, though. Robert?
I'm also going to go with the easy money. The 49ers, they got a good game this week, taking on Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, wishy-washy. He got a fully guaranteed deal. He doesn't have to play. Oh, playing the Ravens defense, throw DTR out there. I don't care about pain. The 49ers have covered 7 points in every single game they've had this year. The closest game they've had was a 30-23 victory over the Rams. I think this will be no different for the 49ers. I think they handedly handle the Browns. I'm taking 49ers minus 7.
I like that.
That is a good pick. I like that pick a lot. Ramon?
I'm going to one we're going to keep our eyes on throughout the season. It's Jags Colts. Jags a favorite at home by 4. I'm actually taking the Colts on this one. I'm taking the +4. I'm not taking them on money line to win this. I'm taking the +4 for this reason. They're coming back from London. Jonathan Taylor, I expect to have a bigger role this week also, and the fact that Gardner Minshew is a season quarterback that's going to be playing in this game, I feel better about them competing against the Jags as opposed to the Jags winning by 4.
Revenge game for Gardner Minshew.
Taking +4.
He used to play for the
this
Jags.
That one, so Indianapolis is like notoriously bad in Jacksonville.
I know.
Okay.
I know it's been since, 8 years since they won down there or something
It's
like
been a
that?
while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I
Maybe
know.
they got a little momentum.
They broke the trend against the Titans, and now Mon thinks they're going to break the trend against the Jags.
Jacksonville's 6-1 against the spread in their last 7, and Indy 1-5 against the spread in their last 6.
When I'm 3-0 on Monday, we'll hear from you guys then, okay?
I'm not saying a thing.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I agree
So
with
you've
you
got
on
Jags minus 2.5. Or no, sorry, Colts plus 2.5.
Colts, on my I see +4. You got 2.5?
Yeah, mine was different too on the Niners.
Stand by.
I thought I saw 4.5. But
Stand by.
Yeah, I thought so.
So Colts, Jags.
Unless it's
I've got
moved.
4 now.
Unless the money's moving, which means what? More faith in the Colts.
You make money moves.
You like that, don't you?
Let's see,
Like
four
off
and a
the rails
half.
like that. Yeah.
4.5. Colts plus 4.5.
We're having a good time. That's what I'm telling you.
I would bet on the other side of that personally, but that's
Well,
okay.
it's okay to be wrong, Will.
Well, I have not been wrong as much as you in college football and
now
NFL
you
betting.
bring
this
up my
time.
record. You was just bragging about my
keep
record
it
now.
going.
I'm not how am I bragging about your record? How can I brag about someone in last?
I won 6, okay?
How many did you lose, Ramon?
Allegations.
12. It's not allegations when it's in writing right in front of me. Unless you're accusing me of fudging the stats. Sound like RG3.
Yeah, please don't do that.
My second pick, guys, I'm going to stay right here in the great city of Nashville. Guys, Vanderbilt is bad at covering spreads. Really bad. Vanderbilt is 0-8 against the spread in their last 8 games. They are hosting the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm taking a risk here because in the second half of this game, Georgia could have a big lead, and Vanderbilt could backdoor cover this thing. Georgia minus 31.5 at Vanderbilt for me
that's
is
a
my
lot.
second pick.
Dang.
I'm going to jump line. That's where I'm going on this one, too.
Okay, all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I jumped in there.
Look at us as friends again.
I know.
Wow.
And this is also the big Georgia vacation trip, too.
Yes, it is. That's a home. No, it's a home game.
I know.
I
seen
ain't even
it.
joking. Last time they played here, look at the images.
I was here at one of the games.
Look at the images, man. Georgia's just walking your trap, take over your trap. Literally a sea of red, man.
To be
and
fair,
then, of course, this is Vandy also, I put in my notes, 5 straight wins for them already, too. College kids aren't that mentally strong to fight through, especially
You
when the
mean
number
losses?
one team
Wait,
coming.
5 straight?
5 straight losses for Vandy.
Okay.
This will be 6 this weekend. That's a hard day.
0-8 against the spread in their last 8 games.
Ooh. The Georgia vacation weekend.
Maybe I should have jumped in when Bert said this, but I am also taking. I thought it was. Is it still at -7 for the Niners and Browns?
I'll open my app again.
And here's the thing, Deshaun.
6.5.
Okay, so it is at 6.5. Okay. Deshaun Watson, I don't think he's going to play.
Correct.
He hasn't practiced this week. Even if he did play, I think I'd still feel comfortable with the Niners going to Cleveland. I think that they had one of their best games against the Titans. I don't know if we're going to see that Cleveland Browns team very much throughout the rest of the season. Bold statement there, but that's why I'm taking the Niners easily at this one.
Okay. Where is that
6.5.
game?
It's at Cleveland.
Yeah, it's in Cleveland.
Yep.
I would not be betting against the 49ers.
I wouldn't bet that one either way.
7's a lot.
7's a lot on the road.
I'm just banking on consistency.
Well, 7 and 6.5 are the same for the sake of argument.
Yeah, mine go ahead.
You need
go ahead
7
and move
to
it
win.
6.5. Give me that extra.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Bert.
Yeah, I just,
Put it on. The rule is what the line is on one particular sports book that we will not name when the picks are made here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
my next up, the team that had the worse week than I did, Miami, taking on UNC. If you guys missed that debacle, rather than kneeling the game out, tried to run the clock out by running the ball, fumbled, and gave Georgia Tech an opportunity to score a long touchdown. I was in the mountains with a Miami fan. He was not happy. But I don't care how much anybody who wins by in this game. I'm taking the over because Carolina's defense is not grand. Now, Miami's run defense is pretty good, but I think Drake May airs it out. Both UNC and Miami are averaging over 500 yards in offense per game. So I think this is going to be an easy over. I've got UNC Miami at 56.5.
Okay.
So this one has gone up to 57.5.
Oh, I'm changing my mind. No, I'm just kidding. Stick with it.
Okay. Miami, UNC over 57.5. Ramon's second pick, Georgia minus 31.5.
Yeah, I'm taking all those points right there. 100%.
You say that, I don't know, it is a vacation weekend for a lot of Georgia fans. Most of those fans probably just live here.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like reunion, vacation, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a sea of red inside that stadium. That must stop. I'm not getting on this soapbox today for Vanderbilt again, ever again, okay? But you can't allow that.
Well, Georgia might have the second or third, maybe fourth biggest fan base represented in Nashville. Maybe. I mean, Tennessee and Alabama are probably 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Maybe Auburn. Maybe Georgia. I don't know. I feel like there are Georgia fans that have popped out of the woodwork.
Georgia, Auburn, Bama is
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss too.
Ole Miss is up there, yeah.
Oh, shout out to my guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Big. Yeah, you're right. Ole Miss is heavy here.
Tons of people. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, third pick. I'm going up to the Pacific Northwest, and I mentioned it earlier.
Oh, boy.
Oregon is 7-1 against the spread in its last 8 games against the Washington Huskies. I believe in Bo Nix. I believe Oregon is the more balanced team. I believe they are the better team than Washington. I like what Dan Lanning is doing. And again, I called it yesterday. I think Oregon is trending into being an SEC surplus team, a team that is built the way that SEC teams are being built. They are talented. Bo Nix is completing 80% of his passes. 2:30 game. That's a lot earlier out there. If this was a night game, I probably wouldn't touch it. But it's not. Day game out there in Seattle. Give me Oregon plus 2.5. One of us is finally picking an underdog. We rarely pick underdogs.
Yeah, we
in the
don't pick a lot of underdogs.
Well, I know. But I'm going up Oregon. I'm going with the Ducks.
What did you pick, Moan?
My last game, LSU, Auburn.
Oh,
LSU
okay.
is favored by 11. I'm actually taking Auburn in this one, plus 11.
All right.
Yeah, that's Travis loves that bet.
Yeah, their last 2 losses have only been by 7, and those 2 teams are A&M and Georgia. Hugh Freeze can coach. They got a solid enough team. I'm taking this one right here. The plus 11 is a lot of points for a team that's been that close.
I'm going against you on this one, too.
That's fine. It's cool to be wrong, Will.
I know.
You guys are going head-to-head this week.
The issue is, well, we're together on Vanderbilt not
yeah,
covering. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh, my God.
You used to be a good human being,
No,
okay, Will?
I think the bet on this game's the over.
Is it over?
I think the bet on every game, the over is hit in LSU's last 10 games. Every single one of their last 10 games, the over is hit because they can't stop a nosebleed in Baton Rouge. The thing about this is that, and all the Auburn people in my life have reminded me of this, the way Tennessee forgets how to play football in the swamp is the way Auburn forgets how to play football in Baton Rouge. Until Bo Nix went down there and was good Bo Nix, against a bad LSU team a few years ago. They had not won since, I believe, the 90s in Baton Rouge. They historically are terrible in that stadium. Auburn 1-10 in their last 11 games at LSU. That worries me for that game is the only reason. Because numbers-wise, you're right. Auburn should be able to cover that line because LSU's not that good. But I don't know. In that stadium, in that environment, night game in Baton Rouge, I have a hard time going against LSU in a night game in Death Valley.
Did we include LSU in our frauds list yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we did.
Oh, I would.
Yeah. We didn't include them.
I thought we did.
And I don't want to necessarily call them frauds because they can be good at times. That's the thing about them. They finish late, and that's where the issue comes into play for LSU is they are the cardiac cowboys when it comes down to how you play and bet and watch them.
I'm going to go up to the Pac-12 for my final one. Look, Utah, I know that they might get Cam Rising back. Kyle Whittingham isn't saying much about it this week, which makes me think they might be playing games in terms of maybe he is going to come back or maybe he isn't. But regardless, I love when they play in Utah. That place is crazy to play in, first and foremost. Yeah. Cal has been okay in terms of like competing with these top-ranked Pac-12 teams this year, but more so at home, not on the road. Mm-hmm. And so when I last looked, and Will, you correct me, it was -12. Utah, you tell me if that's changed, but I will.
11.5.
Okay, I'm going with that, Utah over Cal. I love them at home. There's just something about them at home, so that's why it gives me a little more confidence.
Okay. Robert, final pick.
My final pick today is for the sickos out there. Nobody is watching Wyoming football.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Air Force is moving. They have won 10 straight games, and they have been laying the smack down. They beat San Diego State 2 weeks ago, 49-10. They beat San Jose State 45-20. And Wyoming is not great against the run. They gave up an average of 7 yards a carry to New Mexico and 214 yards on the ground against App.
So much.
Air Force is going to crush them on the way to Navy. I don't think they overlook them. Air Force 10.5, they cover.
All right.
Is it 10.5 still?
Air Force 10.5. One moment. I'm going to have to dive deeper into my app
I'm telling
to
you.
find Air Force in Wyoming.
It's pretty down there.
Let's see.
I saw that one too, though.
I will not allow us to go to break until I find this spread.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Will.
The bell does not dismiss you. I dismiss you.
This is Ramon and I have a bad habit of packing up.
And then I'm late for class for the next class.
Yeah,
and I need to get in there so I can talk and congregate.
Exactly.
I need to be in there talking and politicking, okay? I got to go to class, and it's across campus.
Oh, truancy Ramon.
You got to be able to move like Stanley on pretzel day.
I still have nightmares of that, too. Of getting to class on time because I have to go all the way across and then I
literally
forget where the
don't see
building is.
No, don't say.
I do not see a
swear
spread
it's
anywhere.
It's in there.
What is it? Wyoming and Air Force.
Correct.
Well, you call Mr. Moulin then and tell her that you're the reason we're late for class. It's my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Moulin.
I also have anxiety from missing classes I was late for. I always wake up.
What time does this game start?
6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I see it. 10.5. Yeah.
10.5?
Air Force minus 10.5.
I love that. Give me Air Force.
Can you write me a note for the next class?
Coming up next, Ramon stops complaining about us being late. 615-737-1045. That is right. That's where we will be this time tomorrow. We'll be wrapping up the show at 3:45 p.m. Well,
Yeah.
North London forever. This is what I'm going to be playing on repeat the whole weekend. It's RKW brewed by 8th and Roast. One final segment here before we get into the air and across the pond. Coming up. Excited, guys.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely.
Crazy. We're already at this point.
I think they'll be offering Wi-Fi, I think, on the plane. I've gotten to the point to where I don't even want to do Wi-Fi anymore on the plane because to have those moments of escape where
Yeah.
you can just be unplugged from folks. Not folks in general, but just like the buzzing of the phone has kind of taken me to a point that's just like log off for a little bit.
I love
fair.
that, not having to deal
Yeah.
with text or calls.
Yeah, you know.
I like to pretend I'm a spy when I fly. Like I pick somebody as soon as I get in that I'm able to see, and I kind of like take notes of what their mannerisms are. I try to like read their phone conversations or listen in and see what they're saying. They get off. I always call Cheyenne. I'm like, the culprit has stepped off the plane. She's walking out right now.
I've got eyes on the subject.
I'm telling you, it changes today. When y'all go fly, pick you one person out on your
Okay.
flight and watch them.
Okay.
Just watch them intently. And then when the drink cart lady comes, ask, what did that man up there get to drink? Okay, like Sprite on the plane. Noted. I would be a good
I-
Look
spy.
at you.
I act like I'm in a music video.
What?
I always have my headphones in.
Oh, okay.
Like, y'all will notice this about me.
Yeah.
Like, on the train, headphones.
Mhm.
In the plane, headphones. Ordering something, take one headphone out, order, put the headphone back
Right.
in. I want to be as antisocial as possible when I'm traveling because I am an introverted
Yeah.
extrovert.
I tried. I've become one of
I've
those.
become one of those.
I'm
on
a people
plane more
person
than
who
ever.
hates people.
In general, I've become that. In general, I'm an extrovert, introverted lately.
Yeah.
I enjoy people. I didn't have a good time with them, but boy, I'd be like, oh, I'm cool right now.
On the plane though, when I'm trying to just like zone out,
Mm-hmm.
I will put the headphones on as well. Don't talk to me.
Half the time, even when my headphones die, I will put my headphones
Yep.
in just so people are less incentivized to talk to me.
Mhm.
Like, I would do that on campus all the time, where if I didn't have any music to listen to, I would just put headphones in just so nobody could hand me pamphlets in college.
Mm.
Yeah.
Some people still try to talk to you.
Yeah.
They will.
I sent our picks into my group text.
Oh,
This
boy.
is affectionately called Cashville for a reason.
Oh.
We have weekly council meetings where we meet and give the picks for the day. Very profitable last week. They're all Auburn grads, Ramon.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Texted them our picks. My buddy goes, one of my buddy Tyler goes, shout out Ramon. And then texts back and goes, dang it, he's 6-12.
I love it.
Hey, tell your partner we going undefeated.
And
this
then
Right?
I explained that Auburn plays at LSU the way Tennessee historically plays at Florida, as in forgetting how to play the sport. And I got one emphasize of the text and one you're not wrong immediately.
Are they riding with me or
All
not?
this to
Will?
say, bet on Auburn now because I've gone so deep into why Auburn's not going to cover that now
Exactly.
they have no choice but to cover.
Tell them they owe me a $2 drink whenever we get back, just based off the fact that they'll win this weekend, Will. That's out. That's in the atmosphere now. They must repay this with a good deed to me.
My buddies Blake, Mitchell, Connor, and Tyler, who are in this group text with me, who we all just are degenerates
I
together.
bet it
It's
was
great.
Mitchell that started this match.
No, it was Tyler that started it, and then Connor emphasized the text and said, you're not wrong.
Tell Connor to meet me with a bucket and a towel.
All of these guys and their families listen to this show, too.
Well,
this will
each
be heard.
one of them shall be reprimanded after next week.
Somehow there are so many Auburn people in my life, in all walks of life.
Yeah.
That's
High
'cause
school
they're
friends,
everywhere.
church friends. Well, they're everywhere in Nashville.
They're everywhere. I'm telling you what, Will, even living on the west side, Travis would see Auburn stickers and plates like with the Auburn stuff everywhere. I'm like, where you guys are like
They're very proud.
on each side of the state in the middle.
course.
It's just
Babs is
it's a
part of it,
devoted
too.
fan base.
Yeah.
War Eagle.
Ugh. Yeah.
Weird people. I kid. Babs, don't text me.
Jeez
I'm
Louise.
joking. I'm joking.
Weirder. She's the only one you're scared of.
Weirder traditions, Auburn or A&M, from the player perspective.
A&M.
I know.
Mm.
I ain't think
A&M
much
is
of Auburn.
weird.
I think they're close to the same for
What
me.
does Auburn do?
Yeah.
The Eagle?
They roll their own trees. They have the eagle thing.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
They say that the mascot is a real tiger. Aubie, and Aubie is not allowed to appear in multiple places at once. So if Aubie has an alumni gathering in Birmingham, but the basketball team is playing at the same time, someone has to call the Aubie in Auburn and tell him to go into a room. That way the Aubie can appear in Birmingham. And then when the Aubie in Birmingham's appearance is done, they call the Aubie at the game again to come back on the court. I'm dead serious.
So this is a workout.
And then the War Eagle thing, the long story about that of like a guy brought an eagle to a football game. Like, come on, that's...
I had it land on my wrist.
Like, it's
when
cool.
I covered Auburn.
Don't get me wrong. Weird is fine. I'm very weird, right? I want things to be weird, okay? That's going to get clipped. 9:53. I'm okay with things being weird. Don't take this as a negative. But, like, unique is probably the way to describe it. Auburn and A&M, people sleep on Auburn's traditions, man. It's unique.
There is a lot of
It's
traditions.
weird.
Is it really?
Yeah.
College football's good because it's weird, though.
Yeah.
I love it.
I loved covering them guys, though, way more than Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a better place to cover football,
The
and
Auburn
the people
family.
were cooler.
I think we might be taking a trip down to Bama too soon. I hope.
Well, I already got a text of you're dead to
Oh,
me.
boy.
With that, I should probably not ruin any more friendships. We're back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
I got your back, well, on this one.
Babs,
I'm looking
call
for a fight.
6 a.m. tomorrow morning from the Admiralty. If you're in London, come by and see us. The Admiralty right outside Trafalgar Square. You can do a ton of sightseeing before and after you listen to us. Ramon Foster, send the people on their way.
Hey, be safe, good people. But you must remember at all times your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.